welcome to the climactic conclusion of Season 9 of the SAC. My name is Broken Pinky. I'm joined here by Pat, and we're ready to bring things home for a wonderful season of the SAC. Pat, how are you feeling today?
I am feeling incredible, Pinky. We've had a huge SAC seasons with so many incredible teams coming in. Some classics of these teams have been here for SAC. Some new teams that we didn't know have come and have shown how good they can be. And right now, this is the final tournament of the SAC season. It's the one that they've been playing all of this fall. So I can't wait to see these top SAC teams go against each other.
Yeah, we have the top 12 from the various 4 qualifiers we've had so far in the circuit, judged together based on our point values and how they place in each of those qualifying tournaments. So we have 12 teams to just sort of battle it out for all the marbles, I guess, for the Season 9 victory.
Yeah, and we're going to start with round 1, which is the top 4 teams of this finals. They're already qualified for round number 2, so we're watching the underdogs for this round number 1, and the 2 teams that we are about to watch could very much qualify as underdog because they've done very well on some qualifiers, but on the other ones either they were not here or they kind of fell. So we'll see how they're able to do, how they're able to show that, yeah, they're able to maintain that kind of performance and fight the top teams.
Yeah, we have, for this round number 1, we have Manta Fanclub up against Insomniac Central. So, interesting to start out. I believe both these teams have gotten second place gold in a qualifier. Manta Fanclub in qualifier 2, Insomniac Central in qualifier 1. And they both lost to Chocolate Milkshake in the finals, who is their awaiting opponent in winners round 2. So, a little bit silly in terms of how it all shaked out here, but these are going to be some evenly matched teams.
Yeah, Chocolate Milkshake certainly the team that everybody is getting ready for. I guess everybody reviewed their games against Chocolate Milkshake and prepared to fight them because they're the team to shoot down in this SAC final.
Yeah, they're definitely the team to beat. I mean, Chocolate Milkshake, first, and second in the 3 qualifiers they played in. You can't really do much better. And the only one that they lost to was a rematch against Helios, who they beat earlier on in the tournament. So, like, I don't know. I feel like Chocolate Milkshake's definitely going to be the ones to watch. But that's no discredit to the other 11 teams we have here, especially these 2, who've just been, I mean, as we said, a bit up and down over the course of the season, but very strong teams nonetheless.
Yeah, they're the teams that can, but they need to do it now. There's a big difference between doing it once during one of the qualifiers and showing how good you can get, and doing it repeatedly when it matters the most. And when it matters the most is right now. We'll see how these 2 teams of Manta Fanclub and Insomniac Central are able to do against each other.
Yeah, I don't believe either of them fought one another in the sort of qualifying regular season, so it would be the first time these 2 teams go up against one another. I did get to peek a little bit at the comps. I feel like Manta Fanclub has some stuff cooking. They have, a dedicated heavy player. They have some blaster players. I think I saw Dynamo Roller on one of their weapon rosters. So that's definitely going to be a fun team to watch out for. I didn't get to look too much into what Insomniac Central is cooking, but I feel like there's a lot of experimentation in the SEC just in general. So I'm excited to see what both these teams pull out.
Yeah. We don't have as much information about Insomniac Central. I can see there that we only have the names of 2 of their players right now in the sheet of things, but they've been here since May actually, and have been fighting to do whatever they can to get in there. And honestly, they've gotten a bunch of results that have shown that they're able to do what they need to do to get the fights. It's just that in SAC they got second in the first qualifier, and then they lost much of their interest in the rest of SAC, I guess. And they knew, oh well, we're qualified now, so they didn't fight that hard to get here.
Yeah, sorry about that. I had to step off real fast, but now we're back in it. We get to, I don't know, just sort of observe what's going to really happen. I don't know. I feel like the maps are going to tell a lot of the stories, so I'm interested to see what we have sort of on the docket in that regard. yeah, here comes our maps. Oh, it's actually just 5 unknown stages, I guess. So already in the best of 5 series, first one being determined here is the crab leg.
Yeah, I believe we are on a counterpick system for this tournament, which means after crab leg capital, it will be decided by each team which are the next map modes. So winning on crab leg capital is going to be pretty important, because the team that has the counterpick advantage gets to decide what team only needs then to win on the map modes that they prefer.
Yeah, game 1 and game 3 are both really important in terms of counterpick advantage. Just because, like, if you're trading games back and forth, it's really important to get the map that you want to on game 5, which means you should be up 2-1 by the time game 3 rolls around. So interesting sort of strategy here, but we should be getting right into the swing of things here. Both these teams already writing in. We're seeing Pencil Splash Decapitator up against Junior Sword Blaster 10. Interesting.
Yeah, Insomniac Central right here with a huge. I think all colors are inverted right now. Insomniac Central using pink, I think. They're coming with the tent and the blaster, and I mean, have a lot of mid-range damage. Meanwhile, Manta has a bit more range, a bit more of a classic comp, I guess.
Yeah, definitely a bit more of a classic comp. Insomniac Central going a little bit crazy here. I mean, 10 blaster is a fun combo. Sword is cool for midline, and then you have Junior for the bubble, but definitely going to be working out for them so far. They've really controlled zone. 10 already going all the way in on the pencil. Yeah, going to be taking down the team still. Very strong start from Insomniac Central. I know Fanclub starting to get back in, but they have the strike from their crowd right now.
Yeah, Insomniac Central not stopping right now, and they got a pick on the pencil. If they're able to keep the zone right there, they could get the whole game, but Manta Fanclub able to get in, able to get the paint, and right now still fighting for that zone. Both teams are around there with 2 down onto Insomniac. Manta could finally get some control.
Yeah, finally trying to get a little bit of control of it and say how this game is going to go here. Just painting utter chaos right now. Strike's going to find a pick, though, on the side of Manta Fanclub. So right now, the Splash player trying to control this right-hand side, getting close to those strikes being charged up right now. So this is a good opportunity for Manta Fanclub. They just have to take it to the bank, but this Kent right now pushing on this left side. I mean, Manta Fanclub looking a little uneasy right now in this neutral game. Yeah. Cannot get settled quite yet.
Manta Fanclub a bit too eager to take their spot into onto the zone, not really able to push ahead of the zone and to put their pencil in the grates above the zone. That allowed Insomniac to get back in there with life penalty, but right now, Manta getting the splats they need to getting a lot of pace. If they're able to chase that Stamper away, they could finally get a lot more control, and with that big bubbler, it looks like Manta will be in a very, very nice position now.
Yeah, it's going to be all about that positional advantage right now in zone. The Stamper has been a thorn in their side this entire time, though. Stamper is such a difficult weapon to fight without the proper comfort and resources right now, and Insomniac Central definitely making great advantage of that so far. Two pace going to go down on Manta Fanclub as well, and another being pursued in the middle of this map. And I mean, Manta Fanclub really struggling to re-establish themselves back in the middle of the map. Insomniac Central just getting a ton of fights all over the map, and they're winning them pretty handedly so far.
Yep, that's a very nice pick right there, and Insomniac Central still with a good lead, still with more action right under that ledge, and forcing Manta to use their special simply to move forward. Here comes the Bubbler next to the zone is going to paint a lot, but Manta are able to get in, and with 2 down onto Insomniac, Manta could very well keep themselves alive. Now they need to stop all these flanks. Oh, everybody's jumping back in, Pinky.
Yeah, those were some crucial picks there to sort of stop the control that Manta was having. Now Insomniac Central back in sort of the swing of things here, but they only have 2 up and 2 of their worst painters, so control going to go back in favor of Manta Fanclub right now. With a minute 30 to go, Manta, I mean, they have to hold on to zone for a while. They're going to get taken 2 down, 3 down. Nice double from that range blaster, and I mean, Insomniac Central just looking absolutely in control right now in this game. Yeah,
it's still Insomniac playing very solidly. Despite having no backline, they're able to maintain their presence very easily. The strikes are not going to be enough to take the zone right there, and Insomniac keeps back control. Here comes the Bubbler, the Decapitator is painting so much right there. Ooh, but gets only a trade against the tent. That's going to be Insomniac staying in control, and that Stamper was up there.
Yeah, the Stamper's just moving all around the map, and with that Zip Capture, that's only going to be happening even more. And now the Tenebrella's here, the Crafting's going to go down, Stamper's going to go down, but it's just the Pen left alive, left alone, and it's not going to be enough. Insomniac Central, a very, very dominant game number 1 from them.
Yeah, Insomniac Central simply constantly going in, getting more and more and more throughout this game because they were going forward, because they were constantly not letting Manta Fanclub take control of their positions, be comfortable wherever they were. There was constantly either a tent or a Splatana Stamper to contest whatever Manta was doing.
Yeah, and I mean, they just couldn't really get around it. They didn't really have the range needed to deal with that Stamper from their fighting weapons. And I mean, the Pen just kept getting bombarded all over the place. And I mean, that Tenebrella just broke through on Crableg, which is not something you normally see, but that Tenebrella kept going all the way in so many times. And, you know, when you have a Cafeteria that just wants to run forward, and now they have to look backward to help break the Tent Shield, it just doesn't quite flow correctly.
Yeah, pretty rough, but I mean, Manta Fanclub, I feel like they were kind of surprised by the kind of play that Insomniac Central was doing, especially, as you said during the game, that Stamper being always a thorn on their side, always zip-casting to their backline. If they have now a good map that allows them to get some momentum, a map that allows them to set their position and deny all of this picks that Insomniac Central were able to get, this could be the opportunity to come back. It's certainly not over, because when it was even fights on mid, when it was really Manta Fanclub knowing where Insomniac Central were, the fights were pretty even. It was just that Insomniac Central were deciding where the fight would happen.
Yeah, and I mean, more than that, I think it's just that, like, just the sort of pace that both their comps were operating at. I feel like just having 3 really fast, 3 weapons that, you know, having your sword, blaster, or tent really want to play around positions and around certain corners and holding certain areas really well. When you have a junior that can sort of act as a little jump beacon to get people from one point to another, it really allows you to play at quite a fast pace. And I think that's something that a tent splash comp, or not tent, a pencil splash comp, can kind of struggle with at times. So
yeah,
I don't know if the map mode is necessarily going to be all that Manta needs to get back on the field. I think they just need to adapt sort of their playstyle and the pace that they play to, because they kind of just got run over in all those fights, and they have to find a way to sort of match or neutralize the pace that Insomniac Central's playing at.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, even when Manta Fanclub were winning the fight, even when they were winning the zone and getting something, they were not able to move forward. They were not able to punish all the risk that Insomniac Central was taking by not having a backline, by going so fast, by relying on their junior. If Manta Fanclub find a way to get a pick on that junior and then move everybody away so that there is no jump back in, they could gain that ground and they could really push Insomniac away. And going on to Mincemeat Metalworks for Rainmaker, I mean, they'll see people coming on this map. You can't sneak your way in. It's much harder to find your sneaky way forward. So I feel like, especially with a pencil on this map, Manta Fanclub will have the advantage.
I mean, I could definitely see the logic there, but I feel like this is a pretty solid tent map, in the sense that, like, there's a lot of really narrow hallways on this map that you really want to force your way through, whether it be that top left route on the Great Bridge or just that right side getting through that narrow hallway. And I think tent is really good at sort of bullying people out of that. You obviously have another sword battle. I don't know. This is an interesting pick as well. I mean, Bubbler from that junior is going to be good. I don't know. This is definitely an interesting strategy that Manta is employing, because I feel like Insomniac Central has a really solid map or comp on this map, so I wonder what's going to change here for mana boats.
I mean, you raise a good point, and I think if Manta Boat Fanclub finds a way to maybe switch one short range for a mid-range weapon in their comp, they'll have a much easier time fighting Insomniac, and that could come with Blaster, which would at the same time do the job of really countering the tent and punishing the tent for being in where they shouldn't be. We'll see if they're able to adapt their comp. I mean, Manta Boat Fanclub, if I remember correctly, they have a deep roster. I'm not sure if they're allowed to change players during the set though, but they have 5 players in their roster.
All right, well, I guess we're gonna see. Let's get on into game number 2 here, and already pretty radical change here from Manta Boat Fanclub, and also from Insomniac Central. I guess a little bit less radical, switching over to that long rapid as opposed to that range blaster, but edit shot flash wiper is I've changed on 3 of the 4 weapons I believe from that last game.
Yeah, that's Insomniac Central switching their slowest weapon to a faster blaster is honestly a very, very good choice, and especially I think they were expecting the pencil to come back, which the rapid codecker would have been a good shout to. Right now it looks like Manta Boat has the edge in the first fight and are now preparing their way forward, but they need to go forward, they need to use their advantage. And that's exactly what they're doing right now, Pinky. They're on the grate, preparing to grab, preparing to go forward.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to prepare a push on the left side, but now already force striking down to the bottom right. They have the hammer by the checkpoint as well. That's going to be a first second road here for Manta Boat Fanclub, but Viper going to be the last alive in that hammer, going to be taken down by the rapid blaster, so it sounds like they're going to be able to defend by that first checkpoint, but Manta Boat Fanclub still has a pretty solid lead.
Yeah, that's pretty much a wipe onto Manta Boat Fanclub. Manta Boat Fanclub getting the checkpoint in the first minute of the game is very nice. It's very nice, especially with, I mean, with the kind of combat they have. But as I say, that 2 players down onto Manta Boat, Insomniac Central is their turn to attack, and they're attacking on both sides. The tent is ready to flank as the rest of the team got the checkpoint and are ready to leap off.
Yeah, the tent is going in, the team is going in, 3 go down. It's just this wiper, the last alive, not the full wiper. Maker falls off the ledge, but there's the backup checkpoint, straight jump on the other side with the hammer. Wow, that could have just been a knockout point for Insomniac Central, but barely flubbing it, but even still a lead at 7, and they're still putting pressure.
Without that drop, Insomniac had the KO right there. That's all it took, but the game is not over right now. Almost was it because of the dead shield again. Insomniac Central using that dead shield in so many different ways, and it's working.
Man, this is just, I mean, Insomniac Central, they are awake right now. Like, they are awake, they are firing on all cylinders at this point. Manta Boat Fanclub trying to find that life jacket here in a sea of chaos that's just it's swallowing them all. There you go, 3 down, it's just this flash. And this flash being hunted down by the Stamper. My goodness, Insomniac Central just wants all of these lives they can possibly claim.
It's very rough right now. Insomniac Central, despite being pushed away, they're still forward, they're still in control of most of this map and forcing Manta Boat Fanclub to defend their own spawn when there's only 2 minutes left in the game. It's only now that the Rainmaker is reset. 2 down onto Insomniac Central. Manta Boat Fanclub needs to use that advantage now if they want to get back in this game. They need a KO, Pinky.
They need the KO, yeah. And I mean, we were talking about counter pick advantage a bit at the beginning. Going down 2-0 is pretty, or going down 0-2 is a little bit catastrophic in a best of 5 counter pick scenario. So Manta Boat Fanclub wants to do everything they can to stop that, but Sam does not care whatsoever. He's going to run forward, find the pick on the Maker. 3 go down as Insomniac Central centralizing around that big buffler that Manta Boat Fanclub is left behind into this game number 2. And I feel like they're really feeling the effects of that here with just a minute 30 left, and Manta Boat Fanclub very far away from getting that knockout.
Yeah, Insomniac just painting their way forward. They're very patient in the way they play. They know they can take their time, and look, they're just painting it blue. They're all side of the map, making sure that they know they can defend on there, especially since unless there's a special coming, they can dodge pretty much everything. But here comes the special, forcing the Rainmaker to die. Now they need to get back to that Rainmaker.
Yeah, they have to get back to the Rain in a pretty uncomfortable spot to reach right now, but even still, we play on with 45 seconds left to go of regular timer, and Manta Fanclub just trying to get anything they can. I mean, it has to start by them winning this fight here right now, and that's not a good start if the Stamper going to find a big pawn for the Wiper. And this, I mean, Bottle's going to be popped out to hold a lot of this back middle area by that Rainmaker, and I'm pretty sure Insomniac Central not going to pop it, just going to try and leave it there as long as possible. Yeah, Stamper just trying to protect it, but now 2 go down on Insomniac Central, 3 down is just the Stamper here, but still finding picks on this Wiper. There we go, finally going to go down. Here's their chance.
Yeah, with 10 seconds left, Manta Fanclub grab the Rainmaker, but already are put down. Now they need to fight for a rip-off. And there's everybody firing at the shield. It's not going to work. Insomniac Central and are up 2-0.
Yeah, I had my doubts about that counter pick, and I think Insomniac Central really showed just that their strategy that worked on Crableg, it's gonna keep working on, you know, fast-paced aggressive modes such as Rainmaker. So I mean, that was just really excellently played by Insomniac Central in that game number 2, and now Manta Fanclub on the ropes.
Yeah, I feel like right now it's not really about the counter pick. Insomniac Central are playing faster, are fighting better, are painting the map more, are getting more and more control, and what map or objective we're doing that on doesn't matter as much as the fact that Manta Fanclub needs to counter what Insomniac Central is doing, and they're struggling to do exactly that right now.
Yeah, I mean, Manta Fanclub, just like, it feels like they're just not able to enact their game plan, and I think a part of that is the losses in the fights, and I think a part of that comes in the range disadvantage that they're playing with, because I mean, their longest range weapon in that last game, I believe, was a Wiper, which is not going to be a fun time when you're up against Sword and Long Rapid. But even still, like, this 10 player just feels like they can do whatever they want throughout these past few games, and same kind of applies to that Sword player, and I think Manta Fanclub is really struggling with how to deal with both of those players that are just kind of like dominating the map. Like, the Tent's dominating the neutral, and the Sword is really compounding on their advantage, and Manta just not really able to stand up to that.
I mean, now though, with everything on the line, Pinky, Manta Fanclub, shouldn't they counter pick the Manta Boat? Like, that's their name.
They did say that, funnily enough, Manta's one of their weaker maps. They did admit that in their little blurb, their little interview.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know, you have to find something. Just something that, one, you're comfortable on. I feel like Mantaboat's been feeling really uncomfortable playing right now. And that could be like a whole number of things, like nerves, the fact that, you know, you got to get up and good to go at 1 EST or 2 EST. It's a little bit, I don't know. It's just your first set of the day and you're already being pushed to the brink. That's not fun. But
yeah,
I think they just have to find a map that they're comfortable on, that allows them to play at a slower pace, that will really allow the strength of that Neo Splash that they've been leaning on to show.
Yeah, and you say slower pace. I agree with you. Insomniac Central are able to control the pace and are simply going faster and faster and faster. Manta Fanclub, they need to go on a map where that fast pace can be punished. And I don't think it's going to work on Rainmaker. They're right to go on Splat Zones, especially Umami Runes. Umami Runes is very much a map where you have these sightlines, where you can slow things down and really block things. All Manta Fanclub needs to do right now is make sure that Insomniac cannot run at them.
Yeah, I think zones is definitely a good idea. I think Umami Ruins is one of the better options they could have chosen compared to something like Mako Mart, where I feel like if they went to Mako, I think Insomniac Central would have just held their spawn the entire game. Or at least tried to do that. So I can definitely see the logic here. But this is still a very lockout potential map. I feel like the team that gets control of like sort of that elbow area by the dome can hold onto it for an annoyingly long time, and there's not much you can do to impact the objective. But I do like that they went for a split zones map, where it's a little bit easier to, still put some paint and put some pressure in mid to sort of stall the progress of the objective. And I think that's something that, if you're running Pencil plus Neo Splash, I think that's going to be a good thing to lean towards.
Yeah.
But I think, as you said, Pat, counterpicks are kind of, detached from how this match is really going to go. I think it's just going to come down to how will Manta change their strategy to cool down the fast-paced Insomniac Essentials of playing at this whole time.
Yeah, again, like, it's what I truly think that whatever the map, whatever mode, Manta needs to adapt to the fighting style of Insomniac, which isn't like the classic fighting style that you usually have, having these two midline weapons paired up with a 10, paired up with a junior. This team is moving differently than in Manta is used to, and it shows right now. Manta needs to adapt to that, needs to counter that, and they need to do it fast because they only have one game left to do so.
Yeah, I mean, it is a little bit do or die as far as their winner's bracket journey here in the SEC Season 9 finale here. As we've mentioned before, the winner is going to go up against Chocolate Milkshake, who both these teams have a bit of history with, so to speak. So I'm sure both these teams want their chance to exact revenge from their qualifying sets a few months back, but only one of them is going to be able to do it, and so far it's looking real good for Insomniac Central. So Manta, it really is now or never for them to turn the tides and get them in that winner's circle. But here we go, game number 3 in this best of 5 series. We're going to be seeing another very short-range comp from Manta Fanclub, and we're seeing Zimmy plus ZF on the side of Insomniac.
I mean, it's Insomniac that's making the biggest change in their comp right now. Despite their previous comp working very well, they're now on a totally different kind of pace. That Zimmy is going to help them a lot take control, and it's working right now. They win the opening fight, they win the zone, and they're pushing Manta away.
Yeah, and that ZF, I feel like, is a big key player on the side of Insomniac Central in this match, because, I mean, looking at Manta Fanclub's top, they don't have much to deal with it aside from occasional wails from the 52 and the strikes from the splash to displace it. And I don't know, I feel like ZF is going to be able to see a lot of great silence already. Just look at the pressure being put on by Insomniac Central in just the first minute.
Tenor with that tent is simply staying there and forcing Manta to look at them, to try to fight them. It is so rough, and with 2 players down right now, Insomniac Central are looking to simply run away with the zone, Pinky.
This might just be GG's. I think 20 points to go. Manta Fanclub has to find a miracle here and now if they want to stay in the winner's bracket right now. Zook is going to be pop, Special is going to be pop, but with so few points left to go, 2 go down. This was just running into the zone. I think it's the splash right now, and fight is happening with Bubble in the zone, but the strikes are going to be coming out to force everyone out of their 3-2 right now. Find a pick with a charger right there. 2 go down. I'm still surprised. How did they not have the zone yet? There we go. 2 points. Still just back and forth. There we go. There we go. Insomniac Central gets the 3-0, gets the 100-0 knockout, and gets the set win.
I mean, that was a desperate fight for the zone by Manta Fanclub. And they fought hard, but in the end, Insomniac just more prepared, better, like faster, working harder, and adapting their comp, recognizing really the map much better and being ready for that map, completely switching up the way they play and putting Manta Fanclub on notice that, Insomniac Central is the team that's going to go forward in the next round and face Chocolate Milkshake.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of any other way to describe this set other than just dominant. I think as soon as Game 1 started, Insomniac Central was in the driver's seat. They were just dictating the pace that was going to be played, and they essentially, said to Manta Fanclub, you have to deal with this. They presented that problem to them, and in 3 games, Manta Fanclub just could not quite find a solution to that problem, and they just kind of kept getting run over by Insomniac Central. And I mean, Insomniac Central, even if they weren't knocking out, they got really close. I mean, they were 10 points in game 1, 1 point in game 2, and now fully knocked out in game 3. Like, they were pushing the envelope extremely far, and I think Fanclub just struggled to find comfortability and stability in the face of that.
Yeah, as you said, Insomniac controlled the base and the map all along and really had so much in these 3 games. Very great showing, and that's what you want to do in round 1 of this finale. I mean, both of these teams had mixed results during the whole season, were able to show that they were good enough to be here, but were not able to show that they were the best yet. Insomniac Central are very much on their way to do that. We have a very, very nice opening 3-0 right now.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, yeah. Insomniac Central definitely showing what they're made of, and they're already up next in the next round against Chocolate Milkshake. We have a few other sets going on. The Cafeteria got a nice little win over Distinct. Free Flow beats Swan Lake, and Myopsidus versus Helios is going on right now. But yeah, just really, really strong showing from Insomniac Central. And I mean, like you said, this is how you want to start the tournament. You want to start the tournament with a statement saying, we don't care who we're going up against. We're going to 3-0 them, and we're going to take our place in round 2, going up against the big boys who got that little bye.
Yeah, very much. All right, I think we're going to take a short break, wait for our teams to get ready for round 2, and we'll be right back, Pinky.
All right, yeah, we'll see you guys after a short break. Peace.
Let's look at the font. This is most
welcome back to the finals of SAC Season 9. I am Pat, here still with Broken Pinky, ready to watch the next round of these finals. It's going to be Lunar Eclipse, who were here because they got a bye on round number 1, going against Myopsidus, who had to fight incredibly hard against Helios just to get here. It went to a game 5, Pinky.
Yeah, Myopsidus was up 2-0, and then Helios won 2 games. And then Myopsidus won Game 5 on Zone's Ship-Shape Cargo Company, which is a little bit silly because that's where round 2 is going to be starting, but I'm getting ahead of myself here. Lunar Eclipse and Myopsidus, 2 very strong teams, number 4 and 5 in terms of the seeding for this tournament, so they were both sort of expected to get here, and now they're going to be fighting one another in winner's side round number 2 here, starting off on Zone's Ship-Shape.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a great start for Myopsidus because, as you said, they just won on it. Meanwhile, I believe Lunar Eclipse told us that this was one of the map modes where they struggle on, where they don't like it and they don't want to play on it. So it's likely to be a good burst of momentum for Myopsidus coming into there. Though one good thing for Lunar Eclipse is that they're not tired because they didn't just play a huge set.
Yeah, but I feel like there's something to be said of like the difference between, you know, you have that bye, so you're just kind of chilling and waiting for a little bit, versus Myopsidus. I mean, they're already warmed up. They just came off of a very intense Game 5 set that they won, so they have sort of that wind in their sails and that momentum going in their favor. So yeah, they could really come out swinging here in this Game 1 and potentially catch Lunar Eclipse lacking, and that advantage could be really good for like compounding. And I mean, you see this a lot of times in like grand finals, but seeing it already in round 2, like it's one of the top seeds of this tournament, it's going to be interesting to say the least.
Yeah, and especially since now we're on round 2, and in round 1 we saw the teams that could but struggled to be consistent in their results. Right now we are on the top 8 teams of this SAC season. We are on the teams that have shown in several qualifiers that they're able to get the gold bracket, that they were able to get a lot of results right there. Both of these teams have gotten good results, have gotten very high in these tournaments, and let's get to see right now who is the best.
Yeah, we're going to be getting right into it here. We're seeing CRB, Wiper, I believe Splash, and Pen. We're seeing Pen, Nautilus, Bucket, and Shot. Nautilus is definitely a weapon that, you know, fell off for a while, but is seeing another uptick in usage now, with, you know, mid lanes being a lot more decentralized. So interesting to see how we get into the swing of things with early control here for this orange team and already being hotly contested.
Yeah, I mean, Nautilus stays a classic. It's really efficient in what it can do. It really has all that fire rate to mow down the opponent as they're trying to run forward. Very nice move right there by Myopsidus, who are in yellow. I believe all colors are reverted, by the way.
But yeah, Myopsidus just holding on to control of the zone right now, but this hammer coming right at them. The Kraken as well, to go down to that Kraken. Nom just forced to run away on that bucket and give control of middle here to Lunar Eclipse.
Yeah, and Lunar Eclipse right now, they have the control, and they use that control very properly by taking putting the pencil above the zone right there and having everybody else try to go for the fights. And look at that, Myopsidus, 2 players down! Able to get the pick on the pencil, but not able to get to the zone yet. The strikes are maybe enough to get some control, and yes, they are. It looks like Myopsidus will stay in this game.
Yeah, just having a little bit more fighting breath, and now they're starting to push forward. This bucket is going to be key for putting a lot of pressure on these ledges here, but they're sort of pushing up alone, forced to jump back to the rest of the team right now. Zook is going to be putting on a good amount of pressure as well, but we're seeing a lot of isolated attacks from Myopsidus to support this coordinated push from the team here. But right now, Lunar Eclipse trying to get back into mid, but now their court is being painted all over in this yellow-orange color. Lead switch going to be happening in favor of Myopsidus, and now Lunar Eclipse kind of on the ropes here.
Yeah, Lunar Eclipse needs to find a way in. Their only special that's ready right now is the Ultra Stamp, which is so unreliable. And both teams are still fighting to try to get forward. Very nice splat right there with the strikes. It looks like Lunar Eclipse will have the push forward.
Yeah, Well, they don't have the cap just yet. The control still being neutralized, and now the strikes are going to be coming out. Myopsidus back in control of the zone, and they're getting close to a knock-in here. Lunar Eclipse might have just squandered a crucial chance here, but now they're starting to push forward a little bit. Still don't have control of the zone. It's 2 versus 2, and this painting battle might go in favor of Myopsidus yet again. Droid forced to crack in, but the pen barely able to hold on. The opposing pencil was not looking at the zone here, and that's going to let Lunar Eclipse stay alive in this game.
Yeah, huge move by Fox on the pencil for Lunar Eclipse, painting the zone despite being the last player to be able to do so, as the Kraken was the only tool to maintain any kind of pressure. Right now, Lunar Eclipse, no more penalty. They're on their way to make good amount of points.
3 go down on the side of Myopsidus. Is the delayed white. The pen's going to be the first to respond, though, but Lunar Eclipse out of their penalty points right now. We could be seeing this convert into a knockout and a stagger here. The bucket does have the strikes out there already, so they have to sort of wait these out a little bit. And now here comes that big climactic team fight here for this game. 1 opposing strikes popping out, hammer being popped down, 1 down on either side, lead switch going in favor of Lunar Eclipse, and now knockout is being threatened here. Droid stuck in no man's land. The Nautilus hiding behind this wall, going to be taken down. 3-2-1. Game 1 is done.
What a game 1. Both teams showing how strong they can get, how well they can push, how fast they can move, but Lunar Eclipse in the end able to get back onto the zone and win that extra fight that allowed them to just deny the next push from Myopsidus.
Yeah, I mean, Lunar Eclipse, just a very... I mean, this was a very back-and-forth game 1 here, but I mean, as we were saying, Myopsidus, they felt like they had momentum going into the set. They were already, playing an intense set. They already won on this very map mode, but Lunar Eclipse able to cool them off after, a very strong hold of the zone from 88 down to 12. And once they got momentum back in their favor, they just did not let go. So very big ups to Lunar Eclipse on that game 1.
Yeah, that's a nice opening. And yeah, it is the first game of Lunar Eclipse in this tournament. They open with a win against Myopsidus, who was hot, who was very hot. Right now, Lunar Eclipse are showing the goods, and it's on Myopsidus to really fight them now, despite the fact that that was their counter pick in the previous game. So this is already a map mode that they're supposed to like.
Yeah, so now they gotta reach into that little bag of tricks of theirs and find something else to pull out in this game or 2, because I mean, as you said, this was their counter pick in game 5. It shows that this is a map that they're comfortable on, and to already be losing, although it was a close match, it was still a loss nonetheless. So I don't know, Myopsidus is gonna have to reach in that bag and pull something new out for Lunar Eclipse. But yeah, this is a very interesting game 1. We saw a lot of unique weapons on both sides. CRB being pulled out by Lunar Eclipse, definitely something special, and the Nautilus as well on the side of Myopsidus. So both teams got some tricks.
Yeah, and the counter pick has been decided. We're going on to Mahi Resort for more Splat Zones. It's it's a classic of Splat Zones. We could of course expect to see that at the top, at the final of this SAC season.
Yeah, I mean, Zones Mahi, definitely one of, as you said, Pat, one of the forefront Zones maps in this game here, at least. And I don't know, it's always been an interesting one in my mind, just around the dynamic, because it really feels like the game only starts once the water drops. But interestingly, I find that it can be kind of hard to get back into mid, because, once the water drops, your only ways into mid are all one-way drops. And that can be caught quite effectively by something like a Blast or even a Nautilus or a Roller that's going to be sharking down there. So it kind of turns into an interesting game of, you have to clear out those ledges, and then you can start to impact the middle of the map here. And I find that, sharking weapons can actually be really annoying on this map. So something to keep in mind.
Yeah, it's as you said, you have lots of ways onto mid, but all of these ways are incredibly committal, are very much do or die. I have to drop, I have to get in, and it could be the end of that push right there. But despite all of this being very risky and committal, you can get onto the zone very fast, and a pencil from your own spawn can paint the zone. So you always have these opportunities. It's the kind of map where I see teams usually bring strikes because they want to be able to paint the zone even when they can't get next to it.
Yeah, strikes are very strong on this map. Reef Slider is very strong on this map. If these teams have that in their back pocket. I feel like I have to mention that as someone who's been learning Dread recently. But a lot of I feel like special play on this map is very important because as you said, it feels like you kind of spawn and you're already just in the swing of things. It's really not that far spawn to mid. So I think just your ability to impact the objective as soon as possible is going to be really important. And therefore your ability to sort of survive and keep pressure in mid is also going to be very important. And I think, you're definitely going to be looking towards the pencils for that one because pens going down is always a big deal and you really want your pen to stay alive on the map.
Yeah, in terms of main weapons that are very strong, I think the Nautilus likes to fight on the flat ground, likes to see people trying to run at them and punish that. So I expect Nautilus to come back and to do better on this map.
Absolutely. Here we go into game 2. Not is going to be coming back. Both these teams pulling out a Wiper. We're seeing the Wiper Deco being pulled out by Myopsidus. I've not seen that weapon in quite a while in competitive play, but here we go. Pretty similar comps on both sides. We're seeing Pen, Wiper Shot, and then an auxiliary 4th fighter.
It's going to be very hard for Lunar Eclipse to shock right there between the missiles from the Wiper Deco and the point sensors from the Nautilus. Myopsidus will always have the opportunity to find everybody, but right now Lunar Eclipse are not hiding. They're winning every fight, pushing forward ahead of the zone, getting splat after splat. Myopsidus is struggling on their counter pick and they just lost their pencil again, Pinky.
Yeah, that pen pick is so huge, and Lunar Eclipse's pencil is playing so aggressively right now, and aggro pen is definitely what you want to be seeing, just leveraging that massive chip damage and great paint just for your fighting weapons. And Lunar Eclipse already being a very difficult team to go up against. They're already in the 30s in terms of their points, and it's not even been a minute of the match. Zuka not going to be able to find any picks. 3 specials are going to be up for Lunar Eclipse, but they go down right now. Both specials are going to be popped, but it's just going to be the pen. Looks like, Myopsidus back in mid, back in control, but what a start from Lunar Eclipse.
Yeah, very, very big start, but with 3 players down, Myopsidus found the answer they needed to get. Now, they need to establish themselves and they need to be able to hold that zone for a long time now.
Yeah, it sounds like a long time in theory, but the zone timer ticks down pretty fast. Just every 3/4 of a second, it goes down a point. Zuka already going to be popped out from Lunar Eclipse to try and get this defense. Kula popped out as well. 2 versus 2, this is a massive fight, but this Nautilus looking poised very well to take on this shot if they're able to get the jump. And now fight by this pill is going down. Zone going to go in favor of Myopsidus. Not is going to be trading with this shot here as well. Myopsidus closing in on the lead. Viper running forth with the missiles is going to find 2 picks, and all of a sudden this is looking very attainable for Myopsidus.
Yeah, it's Myopsidus getting the comeback and getting the lead right there. They still have so much control over mid. Look at all of that blue paint all around them. They can do whatever they want, and Lunar Eclipse needs to find a way, needs to push right now with all their specials. And they just lost their Wiper.
That could have been a KO here for Myopsidus in that game. Lunar Eclipse barely able to hold on. Lee's going to be sitting at the 6-point mark here, still fighting them, but Myopsidus still putting on so much pressure, still getting the zone in their favor right now, and Lunar Eclipse not able to rest whatsoever. This Wiper being pushed to the brink right now.
Yeah, we're still in that fight for mid. Both teams know that whoever is able to take the next control, whoever is able to push the other team away could very well get a KO. And right now, Lunar Eclipse are getting splat after splat after splat. All the while, they have the cooler. They're able to respawn faster, and they have very nice control with 2 minutes left in this game, Pinky.
Yeah, but a lot of specials are being popped by Myopsidus. They have the missile, they have the rain, they have the Zuka. And now, this is going to be a big turning point of this match. Myopsidus gets the cap. No questions asked, it feels like. Lunar Eclipse going to be going once again, but they have that penalty continually stacked upon them. And Myopsidus just keeps on holding on for just long enough. And these picks starting to rack up here. Shot going to go down. Myopsidus still moving forward, but the pen goes down again. And the Viper 3 go down from this hammer.
This is so rough for Myopsidus right now. They don't have much time to prepare a push. They need to get in now, and the tripling strikes from Lunar Eclipse could spell doom for them, but they're able to go through. They're able to get in and to paint. They keep their lead. That is huge, and they're not stopping there.
yeah, Lunar Eclipse goes 3 down. Myopsidus is still holding forward, still fighting, and they're still charging up their specials. Strong's about halfway to Zuka. Viper is getting close to the missiles as well. Rain is going to be online very soon here with a minute left on the clock right now. And Lunar Eclipse is kind of on the ropes a little bit right now. Cooler being deployed, Strikes being deployed as well. This is a really important point of this match. Myopsidus looking to get a KO right here and now. The shot goes down, the bucket goes down on the other side though. Just picks happening left, right, and center, but no paint being put on the zone. There we go, finally gonna change, but it's an all-out brawl right now in mid.
Yeah, teams are fighting, but there's only a few ticks left and just a bucket for Lunar Eclipse. It looks like Myopsidus found the answer, and now 1-1 in this round.
Yeah, Myopsidus counterpick really worked in their favor there, but that was a close game. It was 6-15 there for a while. Both these teams had many chances to get that knockout and put a pin in this game number 2, but the other just kept on barely holding on.
Yeah,
that was a really rough game 2 for both these teams, but Myopsidus comes out ahead to tie the score 1-1.
And that was Myopsidus playing the long game right there. They lost game number 1. They were struggling to move forward, to get control at the start of the game, letting Lunar Eclipse get so many points right there. But that's the thing when you have a Wiper Deco. You get beacons that allow you to respawn faster and faster throughout the game, that allow you to locate your opponent, and that's the kind of playstyle that gives you compound advantage, that throughout the game will let you get a bit more and a bit more and a bit more momentum, which Myopsidus was able to play off. We saw a very different team, a very different Myopsidus between the start of this game and the end of this game. At the start of this game, they were completely behind, not able to fight, not able to respawn fast enough. At the end of this game, well, they got the KO.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, very different team from beginning to end there. I feel like the Vipers were the power players on both sides here. I mean, Lunar Eclipse's wire got a hammer triple, I think, and forced the last guy to jump out. It just was generally a very aggressive player here, but I feel like Lunar Eclipse didn't facilitate their Viper as well as Myopsidus did theirs. And the Viper being facilitated also helped to facilitate the Nautilus a bit more. And I think just that those layers of game plans just compounded with each other a little bit more effectively for Myopsidus than it did for Lunar Eclipse. So, I mean, Myopsidus did what they needed to do in that game too, but now the rest of the set is ahead, and Lunar Eclipse has their counterpick to choose.
Yeah, it's their turn to counterpick, and they just chose Tower Control on Inkblot Art Academy. We're going through the classics right now. These teams are counterpicking the map modes that they know they've practiced over and over and played in so many tournaments, Pinky.
Yeah, I mean, TC Inkblot, like you said, it's a classic. It is tried and true and tested and beloved after coming up on, 7-8 years of just being in the Splatoon franchise. It's just, I don't know, it's always been there. It's always been a little friendly place to relax at. And I think of the tower maps in this game, this is definitely the most competitive.
It's a known quantity, and going into a high pressure tournament, going to a known quantity is honestly a good thing to do for yourself. You have the counterpick advantage. Use that to simply stay in a headspace where you know what you have to do. Right now, Lunar Eclipse, they can simply discuss their strategy without having to mind too much about what to do. It's just a matter of now of making it work, or of doing the deed, or going against that Myopsidus team that has shown that, yeah, they can bring the fight back to them right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, both these teams can definitely fight one another very effectively. We've seen a lot of fights happen all over the place. I wonder if there's going to be a pick to sort of mitigate that Nautilus a bit more, because we were saying that Nautilus really likes flat, open terrain. You don't see a whole lot of that on Inkblot, but never mind Fern pulling out their own Nautilus, so maybe they want to enable their own play here. We're going to be seeing Myopsidus, same comp as last game. Lunar Eclipse, though, has the Nautilus and the CRB, so definitely going to be a lot of ways to pressure that tower from afar.
Yeah, and be sure to have a look at that CRB. CRB on tower control is a menace, and that could be the player of this whole game.
Yeah, it's just I love CRB. I love CRB on this map mode. I love seeing Lunar Eclipse picking it. And Lunar Eclipse already off to a great start, getting 2 picks here, this 10 in an uncomfortable spot, being, sort of the last alive here. But they do have the beacons on their plat to sort of jump to, but all the same, Lunar Eclipse at that first checkpoint. Myopsidus not putting a whole lot of pressure on it, and Lunar Eclipse gets the first checkpoint pretty uncontested.
And Lunar Eclipse right now getting to the second checkpoint, almost, but not able to set themselves up above. Oh, what? What was that?
Yeah.
Zuka had to look back. And got
Zuka was
punished.
trying to run away, and the pen caught them slipping, got the pick there. Second checkpoint being broken here by Lunar Eclipse, and Myopsidus finally going to get that defense of 3 go down. Not it's going to be the last one to jump out, but very strong opening push by Lunar Eclipse, getting it down to 39. It's exactly what you want. That second checkpoint is so huge, and already Lunar Eclipse done with it.
And that's just 1 minute of play right there for Lunar Eclipse. Myopsidus needs to find a huge answer right now, and they already lost their wiper. Now they lost their shot. That is pretty much Myopsidus being struggling to stay on the map, struggling to have their players in formation. As I say that they have a few players down onto Lunar Eclipse, this could be the opportunity to move forward.
Yeah, this is absolutely their chance to do so, but Lunar Eclipse has 2 specials. Kraken gets canceled, though. They still have that Zuka to play around, but Zuka not known for its consistency by any means, especially when you have a Viper that's going to be directing you right next to that tower. So good defense from Myopsidus this time around. They have the missiles as well to sort of, force, just disrupt the push that Lunar Eclipse is playing towards right now, but even still putting so much pressure, Splashdown going to be canceled there by this Viper as well. So very effective, fight by Myopsidus, but not quite converting into an actual push quite yet.
They have some momentum. At least the Viper is going to be punished. The rest of Myopsidus is moving forward to that first checkpoint. Lunar Eclipse now activating the Kraken. They want to force Myopsidus away. They want to keep their checkpoint advantage.
Yeah, and Kraken is also a very good tool for shepherding, the other players into the effective ranges of things like Nautilus, of things like Shot, where the Silence and Pencils just get shredded. So very effective strategy from Lunar Eclipse. Myopsidus has been struggling to deal with it so far, but Pen finds a pick onto the opposing Pen player. It's a massive way to open up Lunar Eclipse right now. Myopsidus back at this first checkpoint, and it looks like they're going to be able to break it. So here's Myopsidus' chance to get a good point going, and now they have Lunar Eclipse stuck in a stagger. They have Cooler at the ready, and here comes the second checkpoint, Pat.
Myopsidus with a lot of momentum right there. Everybody's going to get back their drink, and if we are past the second checkpoint, both teams are neck and neck. Myopsidus gets the lead, and they're still moving forward. Pinky with 2 players down on Lunar Eclipse. Myopsidus are pushing, are getting more, and getting to a final checkpoint.
Final checkpoint, and they got some work done on it. The pencil did go down with the help of the Rage Buster, but 17 is going to be where the new lead is going to stand here, and now Lunar Eclipse has a minute 30 of regular time to get a push started to break it past that threshold here. So, I don't know, Myopsidus definitely had a phenomenal push there, getting it down from all the way to 17 is just a crazy push on this map, and now Lunar Eclipse, I mean, the shoe is on the other foot, the ball's in their court, and they gotta go.
Yeah, at least Lunar Eclipse got rid of the first 2 checkpoints. They're very much in the same checkpoint as Myopsidus is. It's just a matter of getting a push here in this last minutes right now. Lunar Eclipse trying to paint left and right. They know they don't want a straggler to the side to punish them when they get forward, and that's exactly what they're doing with that Nautilus, getting 2 right there and allowing the team to move forward.
Yeah, this Knot player has just been absolutely huge. I mean, Knot's been huge on both sides, as we've been seeing here. Rain going to be popped as well. Nautilus going to be dropping down, finding 2 assists to really kill the push from Lunar Eclipse. Just going to be the shot left as the last one alive, and with 30 seconds to go, Lunar Eclipse really has one more chance to get their, get their foot in the door and get a push started here, but Myopsidus does not want to give it to them. Already putting so much pressure and just denying them so much of the middle of this map and denying them area by this tower. And now, I mean, this is the final chance for Lunar Eclipse to get this game going in their favor.
And then Lunar Eclipse chose this map, but right now it looks like they're struggling to move forward to get the ground. They're up there, but they're still surrounded by Myopsidus, who know that all they need to do right now is get a few more splats and get on the tower before the splashdown kills them.
Through the fire and the flames, ignoring the splashdown on their face, Myopsidus, undeterred, unafraid, and going to get game 3 in their favor, going up 2-1 again on Lunar Eclipse's counterpick. Counterpicks mean absolutely nothing so far in this set.
Yeah, both teams showing huge strength, and Myopsidus getting the advantage. They are now 1 game away from the next round, but Lunar Eclipse have shown that they can fight hard, that they can do a lot, and we'll see how they're able to do in the next map mode.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of, it's set point right now for Myopsidus. Lunar Eclipse has to find some sort of answer, and I mean, that's going to start in their counterpick. We saw that, tower control on Inkblock didn't quite work out so well for them just in this matchup here. And I'm curious to see where Lunar Eclipse is going to go, because Lunar Eclipse has been very, freely changing around their comp, not really sticking to one style too much. Myopsidus has been staying very similar and going with what's been working for them, and it's been working really well. And I feel like Lunar Eclipse hasn't, found that thing that really works since game, because even game 1 was rocky. So I don't know, it feels like they just haven't set their style quite yet.
Yeah, and since Myopsidus has switched to the Wiper Deco, they were able to get these comebacks, to get more out of the games. Lunar Eclipse, I feel like they need to run forward a little bit more if they want to be able to get these beacons before they're used. And we're going on Rainmaker now. Now we're about to go fast.
Ooh, we are gonna go fast indeed. I believe, looking at the Sendo history, I believe Lunar Eclipse lost Rainmaker in the last set, but Rainmaker Humpback is, I don't know, you never know what's gonna happen on Rainmaker Humpback. Nothing is sacred on this map, it feels like. And I mean, we were talking about Lunar Eclipse changes their comp a lot.
Yeah,
I feel like Humpback is the map where you see a team, they usually have their general comp and they have their Humpback comp, and those are two very different comps. There's very little overlap between them, so I think we're gonna see a little bit of changes here.
Yeah, with all that hill that you have in the middle, this map is so good for bucket. This map is so good for rollers. But we could see maybe we haven't seen a roller today yet.
Yeah, I feel like with how strong roller is, you'd expect to see some rollers, but it's also a very specialized weapon. I feel like Nautilus is honestly pretty solid on this map, but this is kind of known as being a map that Splatana's players do not like at all. I think Wiper probably has the fairest shake. The Cavitator's Eye, and then Stamper. You got to reach into your pocket when you play Stamper on this map. But even still, I'm curious to see what the strategy is from Lunar Eclipse, and I'm curious to see how Myopsidus responds to it, because it's a very weird map for how each of their comps have been playing. But clearly Lunar Eclipse has faith in this one, so we're going to see where it takes us.
Well, it is do or die for Lunar Eclipse, so I hope for them that they have the weapons, that they have the tools to use this map to get some momentum back, because as you said, Myopsidus, they've been controlling these games, they've been getting the edge, they've been getting the upper hand consistently, and right now we see Wiper.
Oh, okay.
No, it's Vanilla Wipers, and I think both teams bringing Vanilla Wiper is good for them, because this is a map where Ultra Stamp is actually a good special.
Yeah, Hammer's kind of insane on this map. We're also seeing the Heavy Edit being pulled out by Lunar Eclipse, as opposed to that Pencil, which Myopsidus is going to be sticking with. And it looks like the Heavy Edit is definitely going to be a better, pace keeper for Lunar Eclipse. They have control of the middle really effectively, and they have the Rainmaker in their hands already, making their way towards that first checkpoint right now. And it looks like the jump is going to be happening.
Yeah, very nice opening by Lunar Eclipse again. Able to get the checkpoint right away and getting the pick onto the Pencil. That is
kind of bomb.
You don't see that often.
I've never seen so many bombs taking out Pencils in my life, but it's just been happening so often in this set right now. Gonna be ending Lunar Eclipse's push, and now Myopsidus still on the rope right now. Lunar Eclipse getting another pop on that Maker and getting a ton of control by this map. Myopsidus just getting pushed further and further back.
Yeah, Lunar Eclipse are not stopping the attack. Bazooka is going to find one, and the Rainmaker is now in the street, getting to 20 points. That's the end of that push, but what a push by Lunar Eclipse right now. But as you said, don't expect anything on this map mode. And Myopsidus in just a few seconds could come back.
Yeah, see, the thing about Rainmaker Humpag is that 20 points seems like a nice lead. There's no good lead other than a knockout. The only safe lead is a knockout on this map. Granted, Myopsidus was not able to get that checkpoint. Great defense from Lunar Eclipse there, but now Myopsidus gets that second chance. They're going to be getting that checkpoint being broken. Hammer going to be coming in, trading with that shot as well. And now Myopsidus, they have the Rainmaker yet again. They have their own Zuka at the ready right now. And this could be a big opportunity for them if they can find some picks. And Lunar Eclipse really trying hard to stop that from happening.
Myopsidus trying to find their way in, but Lunar Eclipse delaying, making sure that Clawley cannot move forward with that Rainmaker right now. Everybody waiting for the opportunity. Myopsidus getting onto the street, but gets called out and pushed away. They're still alive, but they're still waiting.
Oh, but the Rainmaker is the last. I don't think this Rainmaker is going to last for very long if this Wiper catches wind of it. Yeah, this Wiper already hunting for the Rainmaker, but he gets taken down, but he gets traded out.
It's a trade, but it's not over. Both teams responding. Okay, now with 3 down, Lunar Eclipse is going to breathe a little bit. I mean, Pinky, we're only halfway through the game, and if Myopsidus gets another push, they could get the lead, because as you said, right now we don't have any checkpoint left. It's just a blink of an eye and you get the lead back.
Yeah, you get the lead so fast, you get the knockout so fast, and both these teams just on that razor's edge for this whole game, but the Nautilus going to be able to drop down, find the pick onto that Rainmaker, and they still don't know where it is. Finally, they see the Nautilus retreating, jumping back to the enemy blast, but Lunar Eclipse, you know, they have to push stall here. Now the seeds of doubt are starting to be sown into their brains just a little bit, and Lunar Eclipse, I mean, just kind of struggling to get a good push beyond this sort of elbow area right about now. And Myopsidus doing a really good job holding strong and slowly pushing forward.
Yeah, right now Myopsidus getting their way back onto mid, but Lunar Eclipse have a few specials at the ready, waiting for Myopsidus to make a mistake, and very nice punish right there. Lunar Eclipse are maintaining the advantage.
And as we say that, Commentators curse, Myopsidus gets 3 picks, and this Wiper hunting for the last one here, bringing the enemy Wiper finally going to be taken down in mid. Myopsidus back in the driver's seat, starting to push again. A minute left on this clock right now. Myopsidus trying to get the lead in their favor right now. Strike's going to be stalling them for just a little bit, but picks are going to be the name of the game here. Lunar Eclipse has all 4 members up. Myopsidus has all 4 up to counter that. Tiny Kisser going on the flank, but gets taken down, and now the big fight happening. Shot Wiper being traded. Trades happening left, right, and center. 3 go down. It's just going to be the bucket. They're swimming forward. Delayed wipe, and that's the lead. Is that the knockout? Oh my god.
It's not
still
over.
going on. It's still pop. Hayes grabs it.
Hayes.
Oh my god. It's still not enough. But now, oh my goodness, Lunar Eclipse has to get this knockout here and now, or they go to the loser's bracket in their first game of the day. 25 seconds to go. They're going. This is their one and only chance to stay in winner's bracket right now, but they're gonna get taken down. Nautilus finds a double by the enemy checkpoint, and it's still fighting. It's still going on.
Myopsidus is simply throwing players forward, making sure that there's constantly one player to shoot at the Rainmaker. The Wiper is controlled right there. Lunar Eclipse are in position to grab the Rainmaker, but they need to hold it now. We are in overtime, and Lunar Eclipse needs a KO.
It is do or die, and the Wiper already on the flank. They know it. They know it's coming. Hammer throw comes out, chips the Rainmaker, and here's the Wiper. Finally gets taken down, but the rain in their face. Oh, but Myopsidus goes 2 down, but now 3 down. It's just the Rainmaker. Fox is the last player alive. I think it's gonna happen here, Pat. The Zuka puts the pin in the set. Myopsidus 3-1 over Lunar Eclipse.
Yeah, I mean, huge set by Myopsidus. I mean, they really took control. Lunar Eclipse were able to take the advantage. They were ahead in all of these games, but Myopsidus was always able to come back, always able to get the lead back and then get momentum and then stop Lunar Eclipse from making more points.
I mean, even in game 1, Myopsidus almost had that. I mean, all these games were very hotly contested from beginning to end. But as you said, Pat, Myopsidus' ability to just come back, they had that clutch gene. They just never got rattled. They said, okay, Lunar Eclipse has the early game. They usually have the opening pushes, but when the chips are down, when there's 2 minutes left on the clock, and we need to get that lead, Myopsidus just knows that they can rely on themselves and each other to get that job done, and that was a really good set from them that bodes well for the rest of their tournament. Although they are going to be going up against Chocolate Milkshake, so I guess anything can happen.
That's the goal. That's the goal, Pinky. It's to go against the top teams of his SAC and beat them. Myopsidus right now on their track with the seed number 1, and that's what you have to do at some point in SAC. They will do that in the winners semi-finals with a very well-deserved run so far. And they're going to keep going on, but us, Broken Pinky, I believe it's time for us to say goodbye.
Yeah, we're going to be saying goodbye to you all on the SAC stream here. We're going to be throwing it off to, I believe, Kyon and Siren here on the side stream. But before we go, Pat, I gotta know, where can we find you?
You can find me on Blue Skies at PatJ or Tom. The name on the screen right now, you remove the underscores, and that's where you can find me on Blue Sky. If you leave the underscores on, you can find me on Twitch. And Pinky, where can I find you on the internet?
You can also find me on Blue Sky by removing the underscore and the name on the screen. So, yeah, at brokenpiggy.bskiy.social. Also at Twitter at brokenpiggy_, which I don't really use anymore, but I guess I'm there. That being said, thank y'all for watching the first 2 rounds of winners bracket here for the SEC season finale. And don't go anywhere, because there's going to be a lot of bracket action coming to you guys very shortly. So stay tuned, enjoy the rest of the tournament. Peace out.
talk to me and I smile right back. I don't believe in fantasy. Same dress, same smell reminds me something I can't forget. Same song, same tone in your voice. Tell me this, is it a dream? Take me far where stars are still asleep. You and me will live forevermore. I will follow you, my destiny. Won't you get my feet back on the ground? I'm getting played by you, deja vu. I saw the sparkles in your eyes. Your soothing words make me feel right. I would be glad to stay in your side. Let's fade into this mystery. Same words, is this the first time? As if I'm stuck in a loop. I'm lost in sweet illusion. Turn me into a sensation. Take me far where stars are still asleep. You and me will live forevermore. I will follow you, my destiny. Won't you get my feet back on the ground? I'm getting played by you, deja vu. Where did we meet before? Just like this. I know you smile, your voice just like that. You talk to me and I smile right back. I don't believe in fantasy. Same dress, same smell reminds me something I can't forget. Same song, same tone in your voice. Tell me this, is it a dream? Take me far where stars are still asleep. You and me will
What is up, everybody? How's it going? Welcome to the SEC Season 9 Finals on the alternate side. My name is Kyon. I am joined by Siren, who had moonlighted Rissa for about 2 games on the main stream and got pulled stage left, which is still very funny to me. Siren, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. My hip still hurts from getting dragged, but we're here.
I'm glad you're here. Of course, everything is going very swimmingly here. Hello, audience. We got our lovely faces here. Obviously you're just pulled in from winner's side. You got so you're warmed up, and I'm definitely not in this case. But we do have one of the matchups here in the losers bracket side, and that is going to be Lunar Eclipse versus Insomniac Central here in this best of 3. I think we actually had Insomniac Central earlier in the stream, unless I'm going crazy. And Lunar Eclipse earlier here as well. This should be a fun little matchup ahead of us here, Siren.
Yeah, for sure. I was just actually looking at the bracket just a moment ago, but I'll have it pulled up once again. So both of these teams looks like they did actually lose in round one of the winner's side. If I look at this, Insomniac Central and where is Lunar Eclipse? Well, okay, Lunar Eclipse technically lost in round two, but they did have that bye. So, yeah, I guess in both of their first rounds of the day, they ended up going down. It just tournament brackets, yay! That's how things work out. Of course, Insomniacs losing to. Actually, I was wrong as well. They both lost in round two. I am losing it. Insomniacs losing to Chocolate Milkshake. Who is our #1 seed, as you probably know as well. And Lunar Eclipse going down to my Myopsidus in a 3-1 loss. So they did take a game on their way out. Though that is the 4th and 5th seeds, so it's no surprise that there was any resemblance of things being close. So now we're looking at this matchup, the matchup of all time.
It certainly will be the matchup of all time, and there are two losses in that second round. I'll full disclosure here, Siren, I was also going a little crazy there too. I'm like, I thought they lost in round one, but I was also reading the bracket wrong. So we're on the same page here today. So this should be a lot of fun. Now that we're done on the losers bracket side in the early stages, these are going to be best of threes the entire, not the entire way, I guess, leading up to finals there, where it will be best of 5 counter picks. So they got their taste of counter picks now. Now we're into the SAG 3 maps. Mahi zones for both of these teams. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually did play it in their respective counter picks earlier. Could be intriguing to see who gets the first the first game here in this best of 3 set, especially now that we're going from best of 5 to best of 3 here, Siren.
Yeah, that will definitely set the tone. Not like the tone hasn't already been set to some degree, because now we're in losers, it's double elimination, everything is on the table here, they cannot afford to lose this. Both teams wanting to definitely take the W here and move on so they can get their redemption arc throughout the season finale here. Obviously going down pretty early in the bracket is not what you want to be seeing, especially when you've worked so hard to get here in the first place over a matter of weeks. So I'm hoping to see pretty much any and all teams from here on in putting everything they have on the table.
I would love to see any silly things, or basically any strategy that they have up here to at least take that game one. That game one's going to set the tone, as you described there earlier, with how this set's going to go, which, by the way, we are queued in and we are all set and ready to jam here. I look at the weapons initially. No surprises so far to my side. By the way, Insomniac Central's on purple, Lunar Eclipse on yellow, of course. I am going to be intrigued to see how that custom range blaster and the rest of the team, is going to play out here, Siren.
Yeah, we see both teams making a bit of a mad dash for that zone at the beginning there, both kind of charging up specials, trying to see if it can get them some early game leverage here. That crab tank is going to be coming out from Sam, alongside that Tenebrella, which should allow them to open up a lot of pathways simply by force here.
Yeah, and they're able to keep this up for a little bit longer here. 25 points remain, already taken down. Insomniac Central off to a fantastic start right out of the gate, and of course we're destroying the burst bomb, trying to get the pressure out of the pencil, which the pencil has gone down as well. And Insomniac Central still command a lot of control here of this map. They're actually trying to force this lockout position already here, and Lunar Eclipse is having a rough time just even trying to dive in. Trip Strikes in their own base, just trying to get any sort of paint back in, trying to zone Insomniac Central across the board. And Siren Insomniac Central still rolling strong. Could be looking for a KO here shortly.
Yeah, definitely gunning for it at this point. It's just going to be the Wiper left with 20 ticks to go on that zone. Pretty much you see here, we're just painting up as much as we can, trying to prevent that Wiper from getting in. So we're scouting out all those entry points, and it looks like they were able to find that Wiper before the Wiper found them, and that will seal them the deal with that game one.
Yeah, that game one going very strong for Insomniac Central. Never really looked bad whatsoever. Pencil going down at critical moments. Probably would have loved to have that cooler and extra paint in their base there, but Lunar Eclipse just wasn't able to get that one started. And that's a great start for Insomniac Central. You're going from best of 5 to best of 3, so now each map is going to start mattering here. I'm sure both teams know that assignment. So they went through. By the way, I think I've noted it was Mahi zones. We're wrong. It's actually ramen zones for that game one. It just flew by so fast. We didn't even need to pay much attention to it. That map also had to go stage left there on top of it there too. So we go from that to now a map that's probably been more common across the board. Ink block, tower control, of course, and obviously I'd imagine both teams very familiar with this map combination all around. So Lunar Eclipse, well, gotta put that game one aside there for Lunar Eclipse. I wouldn't be surprised if any adjustments were to be had, especially with now this being backs against the wall and pretty much their tournament life here in the season finale.
Yeah, that's it's gonna be rough. As I saw earlier, if anyone migrated from the other stream to here, it can go very quickly in either direction depending on how you play things out. It can be a bit of a hard map to defend on. So I feel like Insomniac Central, with how quickly they sealed that Splat Zones game, they're going to try and replicate that as much as possible going into this one as well. Though I do have a few questions I must pose in my head about how they might change their comp given the mode change entirely. There's some things that just kind of work on the tower and some things that just don't. And with a map like Ramen Zones, you really had those pathways that they could benefit a lot from. They had a bubble, they had a tent, and there wasn't really much that I felt Lunar Eclipse could have done to get past what Insomniac Central was throwing at them there. But now with a map like this where it's a little bit more open, I don't know if they're going to be able to replicate that same control they had before.
And the weapons, I'm also you highlighted there with the comps that they also had in game one. I wouldn't be surprised if this is, of course, tower control. Sometimes we normally would see blasters across the board. That's if that CRB does come back, but maybe with the pace play that Insomniac Central had, and the way the kind of map, I like to describe the map geometry kind of plays on Ramen Zones. Ink block tower control is almost a very different beast. Not just the zones change, but also how the map is really laid out there. Maybe we're like, okay, this first map just didn't go so well for us here on Lunar Eclipse's end. So there is an opportunity, especially if I look at some of the weapons that Lunar Eclipse does have on the table right there. I think I saw one player there that did have the CRB available if they wanted to even use that, but otherwise not many players with blaster usage so far. So to me, I know this is a very recycled line you might hear, is more intrigued to see what weapons they want to dish out here in Lunar Eclipses, and especially with how that first map went.
Yeah, I was looking over that document myself quite some time ago. Wasn't able to memorize everyone's options, unfortunately. I could definitely look back and maybe reconsider, but honestly, I would have thought by now the game would have started. It seems like these teams are definitely going through something, but on the flip side of that, it does allow me to open this document and start theory crafting with these teams just a little bit. Oh well, never mind.
No. You're not allowed there, Siren. Your theory crafting ends in 0.1 second store. And yeah, Droid was actually the user. I was the player there from Lunar Eclipses, and I was making note of. What I wasn't expecting though was the Luna Blaster on the other side. I think that is the Luna Blaster, yes, with the Ultra Sand that Noir's dishing out here in Insomniac Central. So, to my knowledge, at least there were blasters on the board. I am actually intrigued by also how that Explo and that Stamper is going to play off on the Insomniac Centrals, and almost feels like a very different comp, fundamentally speaking, coming into this one. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a very Inkblot TC specific composition here. Both teams going 2 down, make that 3 down on Lunar Eclipse's end, but Insomniac Central also losing members could be a little bit of a stalemate here before they get some control back of the map.
You know, I honestly don't know how I feel about these comps. When I look at Insomniac Centrals, I see that and I think this might have a paint problem, because I'm not really seeing much for distinct paint role aside from Explo, but I don't know, it kind of depends on how you play it. Though that rain is going to come out and help them quite a bit here. I'm not sure how sustainable this is going to be, but you know, the best painter of all in this game is splatting enemies, right? So, hey, if they can hold up that momentum, then I have full confidence that they're going to be able to updo things here.
If you're gonna use the enemy as a painting, they're doing a great job of already doing that, because that second checkpoint has already been cleared so quickly there from Insomniac Central's end. They finally lose a little bit of ground, only a little bit though. Just the 2 members down, the Expo and the Stamper, of course, still the only ones alive here in this mess. But it looks like that is gonna be the Kraken. I think Droid just popped out there from Lunar Eclipse. It's trying to zone everybody out, and that is going to be the end of it. I did make note though, yeah, there is a slight painting problem from Insomniac Central. I think that was kind of the same read I had on that, because Lunar Eclipse does have a lot more weapons that could have, especially you got to still respect the pencil, of course, in that side. But that's still a great initial push, and they tried to basically help counteract some of that by playing it as aggressive as Insomniac Central could. But Lunar Eclipse, though, they're trying to get themselves started here in this push, but only for about 2 seconds here, Siren.
Yeah, only getting a very moment of pushing that tower, not even really quite making it to that checkpoint there. That Expo is going to play very well defensively, and it looks like we have that sword sneaking through just as well. We now see an absolute stack of 3 members of Lunar Eclipse able to break through the aggression of Insomniac Central for long enough to get the ball rolling a bit onto tower here. Fern playing this a little bit cautiously, doesn't want to hop on the tower just yet and risk getting punished by somebody waiting for them to do so. But wow, that Ultra Stamp, what?
Okay, that was very silly Ultra Stamp usage. It worked out super well. I don't know if many people would want to use the Ultra Stamp so close to the clip, but hey, it got value. It got 1 member out, and that's going to be 2 members down from Lunar Eclipse's end. That is going to stall the push. It will definitely stall the pusher, and Insomniac Central, they do indeed hold. I'm like, wait, there's that Ultra Stamp. There's no way it certainly is going to work, right? And surely enough, it does. And the tower is going to reset. Insomniac Central actually did a really good job holding firm onto that defensive position they're in, preventing that second checkpoint from passing through. Excuse me, but it looks like now the tower's still stuck in neutral. Lunar Eclipse will need to have another push in their pocket if they want to have another chance at a lead.
Yeah, Lunar Eclipse, I'd love to see from them further on in this game, taking more advantage of those coolers and using them to take up space before they progress a little bit farther there. It feels like they're getting a little bit tripped up on the lead that Insomniac Central already has. They're very concerned with that and not concerned with creating a stable foundation for them to move farther in. But as I say that, looks like things are starting to move a lot further here. We have that cooler, which is currently active, the Kraken going out. We have people positioned up on bats. We're getting behind that tent shield, which has been such a nuisance for us earlier before. And wow, the direct directly onto Tenor. That's going to get that shield out of the way. It's really just Sam who is our biggest roadblock, it seems, right now. But even then, Sam's just gotten taken out.
Yeah, Sam getting taken out. That is gonna for sure secure lead there from Lunar Eclipse. And on the flip side, there's a lot of pain that Lunar Eclipse was just dishing out just for that push alone. They did finally go down. That's 3 members down on that push, and the tower is gonna reset there. I was gonna we highlighted this a couple times. Their paint advantage is gonna help Lunar Eclipse the rest of the way. Insomniac Central will have to find ways. But they're playing a little bit more aggressive, trying to paint for more coverage is gonna be the big thing they're gonna need to build upon. But Lunar Eclipse, if you have that Ultra Stamp ready to go with that wiper, it's gonna be a completely different story here. And Siren, about 25 seconds left. The question is, will Insomniac Central have something to counteract with? Well, okay, well, Tini going down with that Ultra Stamp is going to help. That's actually going to be 2 members down. Maybe a big push here coming out of Insomniac Central, especially if they take 2 members out, especially Pencil going down.
Yeah, Pencil going down is going to be a bit of concern for them, but with 10 seconds left, I think Lunar Eclipse is feeling pretty comfortable where they're sitting. They have a little bit of wiggle room here. Yep. They can kind of get into these defensive positions and, yeah, just hop back onto tower the moment the opportunity arises for them. And that is going to seal the deal. It's going to push us into Game 3 for determining this set.
Yeah, on to Game 3, the critical game here, excuse me, determining who they're going to play next. Which, by the way, the Cafeteria is going to be the next opponent that's going to be weighing ahead of them for whomever wins this Game 3. So that will be a little fun to watch. And Siren, from just getting a read on both these comps, did we think the paint disadvantage that Insomniac Central was going to come back to bite them after their first initial push?
Do I think it's gonna bite them?
Did you think it did?
Honestly, no.
No. Sorry.
I think with Insomniac Central, they maybe got a little bit overconfident in that first game and felt like they were going to be able to get away with Game 2 if they were just able to get the picks, and they kind of went in with their comp building with that idea in mind, like, okay, let's just pick things that we know we can win the fights with. And I don't think they got the full picture in that game, and I think it came back for them, especially in that second half of the game there. Like, yeah, they had a lot of explosive energy at the beginning, but that wasn't able to be sustained the whole way through once it felt like Lunar Eclipse got their footing. So in this game 3, obviously, it's a very large map. There's a lot of real estate to work with here. Both teams are probably, hopefully, going to be approaching this with that knowledge they've gained in those first 2 games in mind. But on the other side of that, it's also, because it's such a large map, there's a lot of ways to sneak into your opponent's base, and having paint control is one of the biggest ways to avoid that from happening. So I don't know if we're going to be seeing much of a cheesy game here. What are your thoughts?
I think what Insomniac Central tried to dish out was almost a comp that was very specific for Inkblot TC, especially with what you know there from that second game where they had that explosive start, but things fizzled out by that second half and didn't get the entire picture as you noted. So I actually wouldn't be surprised if they throw out something different. We saw it here in this game 3. The first game was almost all Insomniac Central the entire way through. Lunar Eclipse had a great read on them into this second game. And considering how, as you know, how huge this map is, a lot of opportunities to get some really, really sneaky pushes in, whether it would be the spinners close to your base, or just trying to use the forbidden block on that left side, trying to jump right in. That's going to be the ultimate question for what both these teams want to do. The other thing too is also a test of team coordination here between both of these teams, especially with this being being Clan Blitz, a very different mode all around. So I wouldn't be surprised if Insomniac Central goes to something totally different for their weapon set. But I think Lunar Eclipse, they had a great read for the second one. Now I wouldn't be surprised if adjustments are made only because of how this map is kind of laid out in general, Siren.
Yeah, for sure. I would love to see the approach that these teams go with it. Of course, every time there's like something I'm not used to seeing, my brain like zeroes in on it, and Tent being kind of a bit of a rare pick for weapons nowadays. I want to see it happen again here. I think we have a case of a one trick, and now actually I get to look at the doc. Oh wait. Insomniac. Is this on here?
Yeah, it is, but it is actually on that doc. By the way, shout out to the TOs and the people behind the scenes for supplying all the information that we as commentators would love to see about both these teams. However, it's kind of a bit of a mystery bag for what we have available from Insomniac Central so far, and that's gonna be the interesting here, because we do have a few. We do have only some information, I think, as you might have noticed with Insomniac Central. So it's gonna be a bit of a wild card for both of us to get a read on what they're gonna do. I think Lunar Eclipse, with the way their weapon loadout's gonna lay out, I wouldn't be surprised if they change up their comp to kind of suit the needs of not just what their players are comfortable with, but also how this map is laid out. As I noted there a couple times, wouldn't be surprised if the splash actually comes in for Lunar Eclipse there too. They got a few players that can play that. That's gonna be go ahead.
Yeah, no, I agree with you entirely there. Sorry about that. I was like, oh, it got passed off to me. Okay, great.
My bad.
No, it's not your bad at all. It's mine. Just a dog moment.
I got you there. You can tell. I think we're both still slightly waking up here. But apparently both these teams are taking a lot. So both these teams are taking quite some time getting into this third map. There, I can only imagine either A, it could be substitutions. B, they're still figuring things out. Or C, they're running out the timer and just basically messing with all of us here in the audience and in the commentary desk, because I'm actually kind of surprised that both teams are kind of waiting on what exactly they're waiting on right now, and I think we both have an idea on how this is gonna play out. Apparently, both teams are still trying to figure something out here, and I'm also concerned about where this is gonna go.
Yeah, usually when there's a pause like this between games, it's never a good thing. Yeah, I know. We know that the weapon timer isn't quite this long, but hey, all right, Commentators Curse. We need to activate that and like use it to our advantage more often, I think.
I think so too, Siren. I'm on the same boat. Maybe we just need to keep wondering about a lot of the about whether these teams are gonna let them. They're like, yeah, they're gonna respond to that. Which, by the way, Insomniac Central is actually the team that's dishing up the splash. It's actually not Lunar Eclipse this time, but they're going with weapons that I'm not surprised to see. Other than the Nautilus that Fern is dishing out there with that triple splashdown. But there is a bubble that Insomniac Central does have available with the junior and there. So that's actually going to be the weapons that they are dishing out with both teams. That game 2 comp that we saw, pretty much what I figured there was a very specific comp there for Inkblot Target Control, and now with this being also fundamentally different in terms of the map and the mode, no surprises with the changes whatsoever.
Yeah, looks like they've definitely doubled down on the fact that they were maybe missing a little bit of paint, and so now we do have 2 of the best painting weapons in the game in the form of the Splash-O-Matic and that Splattershot Junior onto the side of Insomniac Central, and it looks like it's working out for them very well so far, as it looked they are definitely rearing up for a push here. Don't quite have that clamp control just yet to back that up. Seems like we're having to back up into mid a little bit. Maybe stall this out until we can get a power clamp secured, which they do have now. And it's just going to be a matter of, all right, well, now can we get back to the situation we were in like about 10 seconds ago where we were ready to dunk?
Yeah, and I was going to be wondering, there's like, was that the window of opportunity that Insomniac Central had available? The answer seems to be we'll just need to wait a few more moments for that. As it looks like Lunar Eclipse able to get a good, nice little retake there on that side. It's just pretty much controlling most of the map as much as they could. Insomniac Central still holding on to that power claim back in their own base, just trying to make those one count, but they are slashed in half by the Wiper, and it will be a couple members down. They're gonna have to hold on to that power claim once more. So having to pump the brakes there. But Lunar Eclipse, I was gonna note, was where was the power clamp for the advantage, and there it was. There's 2 power clamps already cashed in. They got the opening that they needed. Lunar Eclipse, they lose 3. They got what they needed out of that push. They break it down to 57 points remaining. 2+1 was the push there, Siren. That's a great start for Lunar Eclipse 2 minutes in.
Yeah, a very strong start for them here. It looks like they're maintaining that momentum and holding this pressure in mid. Those strikes going to get popped. That trade happening there as well, which is going to allow them to hold on a little bit longer here. We see Fox pushed actually moving back to maybe collect another power clam here. Almost has that cooler at the ready, and it seems like they're almost getting ready to make another push, even though the first one just ended moments ago.
Yeah, I think they were pretty much set up for that push. I was wondering, wait, what about that cooler toss up ahead? They were trying to go full aggressive with that push, but it's going to be no dice. And I think that power clam, unfortunately, taking a bit of a drink there after they got splatted down. And that's a lost power clam there on Insomniac Central's end. But they got 7 clams that they can work with, of course, kind of being split between 2 different players there. But they'll have to reset just a bit. Lunar Eclipse, though, they don't have any clams in their clam economy so far. But they are still mowing down a few members there from Insomniac Central's end. It's still a bit of a trade game here that we are seeing. Siren with the way this is playing out. Nice little take out there of that pencil. Fox has gone down on top, and it's still a 2-for-2 trade on both sides. Still a bit of a brawl, still stuck into this neutral state, and there's only a small amount of clams that both teams have here, Siren.
Yeah, both teams not really being able to hold on to too much for too long. Feels like a lot of people approaching from different angles here. That crab tank, once again, going to be key coming out from top mid. Kraken is going to get popped. Obviously, we can't cheese that anymore in this current meta, but we can definitely try and scout out who is defending the base of Lunar Eclipse here. Is able to find Vivid in there. Looks like Toomey is holding things down very well for them. And frankly, while we've been kind of rearing up for this, we're bleeding out members. We're losing people momentarily, and it's just not going to be sustainable for the time being. So now going into that last minute of the game here, they're really going to have to clock in, make sure they're finding ways to get that push in. They're not in a spot where they can reasonably cheese things, I think, with the comp they have. So it's all about just accomplishing the picks they need to get, and how are they going to do that, right?
Yeah, I feel like that is definitely the big question there. But they did get a few members down. That was the pencil, that's an Nautilus, and the Slosher, all quickly going down as fast as they could. Now there's that opening that you were talking about, was where these picks gonna come in from, and it looks like Insomniac Central has found some openings, but a few tap shots, and the rest of the team has gone down all in quick succession. The entire team is wiped there, and Lunar Eclipse hold the line very well. They are probably looking to build that power clam just to pretty much ice the game here, and they're going to get that push in. It's, I believe, if my memory serves with how overtime is going to work, is if they're able to keep this basket open until timer duration, that should be it. But let's see how this plays out here. Yes, it will be. Just the 49 points remaining. Lunar Eclipse, they shut the door on what could have been a strong push from Insomniac Central. They move on to take on the Cafeteria further down in losers bracket here, Siren.
Yeah, and definitely changing what seemed to be fate for them from the beginning of that set. That first game being extremely dominant for the members of Insomniac Central. Very much no opening for Lunar Eclipse whatsoever. But hey, definitely in these last two games showing what they can do and accomplish if they are given any openings whatsoever.
You know what? A lot of credit to Lunar Eclipse there. That first game was gonna look like Insomniac Central was just ready to just run with this one all the way through, but I think once they found their footing in the second half of that second game, they're like, okay, we have a decent read on what Insomniac Central was gonna possibly dish out us with the way they play. So I'm like, okay, we gotta figure out how to deal with. It was pretty much a coordinated team effort there too. It's not just one player that stood out. Everybody kind of stood out there from Lunar Eclipse. There's Siren, and hey, it started to show in that Clan Blitz map. Almost had to hold on for dear life if the way Insomniac Central was kind of set up there for the final push. But credit to them getting the last wipeout, pretty much iced it, and they get their next challenger. The Cafeteria is gonna be the one waiting for them. That should be a lot of fun for both these teams once they get to that side of the bracket.
Yeah, for sure. I'm surprised. Cafeteria did okay. Well, I don't know. I can't really. I don't have the right to be surprised. I think actually because I watched half of that set, so I should know better. I was casting that set where that ended them got them into losers, right? So,
yep.
I really should know better. So we are going to be following them into this. They were very strong, I will say, against Triggerfish Zones earlier, but I feel like, honestly, what kind of sealed it early on was their counterpick decisions. They had a tower control game on Inkblot, which was incredibly close. If you saw it as well, where it went into overtime and Triggerfish Zones was able to clench it out when it was almost a knockout that they had to get. And their decision to counterpick from that was to go into tower control again, which I felt was like, okay, we know what we did wrong, but let's fix it in this next one. And yeah, it didn't quite work out for them there, but maybe things will kind of have, I guess, whipped them into shape a little bit for this one. I think they have no room to not execute discipline for this set.
And you were correct too, because I think both of us, especially you, filling in, and I was just in the audience watching that set just play out there. I'm like, okay, because I think the score was 2 points remaining was the actual score there from the capture. Like, okay, I think they're gonna be up 2-0. And then, of course, in typical Triggerfish Zone supremacy fashion, they clutch it out at the end, then taking care of business in the next three, pretty much riding that momentum all the way through. And I still remember that. I think I still remember that comment in the bit of surprise you had with Hagglefish Tower Control. I'm like, is this so? If it did, so maybe if we got that strong initial push, maybe we can figure this out the same way. Obviously, the script says otherwise for them. It was like, no, it's like, no, TZS figured it out afterwards. So that's what they're gonna have right there. So that's what the matchup is kind of set up for. I've apparently received word from the people across the other side of us here. I think we're actually going to be jumping in mid-set to another matchup up ahead, and that's actually, it just reflected down there too. So from what I understand, oh wow, they actually did update the score because we're jumping into Game 3. It's also another critical Game 3 for us there too. It's Myopsidus and Retro Records. I think Myopsidus was featured here. Retro Records was on the main side there as well. I'm actually kind of surprised that Retro Records found themselves down here this early if the seeding if the seeding takes place there with the points. So I guess both teams have a lot on the line, especially with this now us jumping in the Game 3 coming up.
Yeah, looking forward to that. It seems like All right. Well, we don't have very much to go off of here. We know each team has taken one. Myopsidus definitely setting the tone at the beginning there, with Retro Records taking Rainmaker and Undertow. But I feel like Undertow is one of those maps where anything can happen. But I kind of feel the same way about Scorch Clams. So it's really anyone's game at this point.
You know, it's kind of funny because just yesterday, because I was also doing another event as well, as I think I saw Undertow Rainmaker, and I think you said anything could theoretically happen, especially with the changes. It feels like eons ago when they made a one unpaintable side actually paintable for some undetermined reason. But the event I was noting there yesterday that I was doing on the side was someone actually tried to full commit to the right side on Undertow Spillway Rainmaker for whatever reason there for the push, and didn't quite work out for them. So Scorch Clams is pretty much going to be the same story, I'd imagine, with the way this map is really laid out there. A lot of openings to work with. And you also know there too, since we're jumping in mid-set here, effectively we will only get a sample size of one game here in this third one. But I feel like Myopsidus themselves actually had a pretty strong run for what we saw there. Actually, the only team in the first round of this, in the winners round one, where their set was the only one that that wasn't a sweep, by the way, was also the one that went the distance. So they got a lot of games under their belt now. I guess they're warmed up. And Retro Records again. So for them, probably a little surprised they found themselves down here. But hey, now you're in basically do or die situation, basically here in the game 3, and they actually will take on the winner of the other side of the bracket we just talked about earlier. So this will be for us a little interesting, and for us a little bit of a surprise or a mystery on what they're going to dish out for the winner take all, basically.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to being surprised at the very least. That's what I'll say. I am staring down this bracket as much as I can here. Retro Records, like you said, did lose to Cafeteria, which was the 7th seed. And obviously, with these teams playing for a seed, it happens based on the record throughout the season. Though, I've seen Cafeteria outside of this circuit, and they've been on a very high incline over the past few months. So I'm not really surprised by them taking the set over Retro Records. I think as teams improve, maybe the seed could not be totally reflective of what's actually going on, and that's like the flaw and the good thing about having a circuit where your seed is based on your record before here.
I think we may have unintentionally invoked T.O. Siren there for a hot second, but I think you're exactly right there too. Had to throw that out there, as well, because for the teams that qualified, it was all points based across the 4 different qualifiers there too. And Retro Records, I think, had a lot of pretty much catching a lot of points, and the Cafeteria, they're too high incline, but incline for them, or basically high improvement for them for sure. So that's going to be the thing to keep an eye on. So, by the way, this is going to be the winner take all, basically. Winner moves on to the next round here in this game 3. Notably, we would be surprised to see Glugos on the board, but this has been a weapon that I think that has been played so far here, and I think this is actually going to be the Retro Records here that's actually going to be dishing out the Glugos, if I'm not mistaken, or if I'm reading the colors wrong. Bear with me for a hot second here. Both teams are loading in, and virtually not many surprises I think I can see so far with the weapon choices here, Siren.
Yeah, there is I mean, hey, it's what we're used to some degree for both of these teams for sure. It's more of just like, how are we going to perform under the pressure? Everybody's watching us now, and this everything's on the line here. It's game 3, and the loser is out of the tournament, right? So early on, we do see that power clam made for the members of Retro Records there, and it looks like Myopsidus saw this as an opportunity to kind of run forward and get some picks off of that, knowing some location, having a little bit more information there, but being very severely punished for it. And now we do see a bit of a turnaround for Retro Records here, taking some control of mid, and as a result, actually getting a bit of location information of the members of Myopsidus.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see how they're going to be able to take that to their full advantage, which so far, Retro Records is the one just continuing to push tempo here, able to get a few members out of the board, and now this brush is just trying to run amok here, but as soon as I have to call it the brush, Nah, forget that idea. The Rice Man is gonna be the one that's able to cash on this berry. That's 2 quick power clams already in. Scribby's has gone down, and it will just be pretty much just the 2 power clam push. Still a good start for them, nevertheless, with less than 2 minutes clocked into this game. So there's that free clam that of course drops, but Retro Records is not wasting a beat here. They have taken 3 members out. They may be able to keep control of this side. Now the next question is, when does the next power clam come in? And it looks like so far that Dynamo Roller is gonna hold on to that for Retro Records.
I have never felt such fear in my heart as watching a ink brush run at full speed while coolered, so even faster than normal, into the base of the members of Myopsidus. They're just wreaking havoc, not even really worried about picks, just like, hey everybody, look at me, look at me, look at me. Oh wait, 3 of my teammates just ran in behind me and dunked power clams, and now we're down to 39. So that does mean Myopsidus is sitting on the back foot a little bit here, is going to have to focus on taking back control of mid, which they did lose in that scuffle. Build up a cooler, get some specials. Seems like they do have that Zuka on deck ready as well, but how they're going to have to deal with that crab tank from the members of Retro Records.
Yeah, the inevitable crab tank there, especially with the splash, will be the big key for them. They're just waiting a few more paint down, excuse me, to see when that's gonna spawn in. But it looks like Retro Records they're still again here. They're still pushing tempo. Excuse me. There's the Booyah Bomb is gonna be popped out. Trying to throw it to that side. Trying to kind of provide a little bit more spacing. Zoning out Myopsidus as we speak. There, they do drop that power clam only for a few quick seconds. They are gonna lose a little bit of members here, so I think they're just gonna pump the brakes on this push. Recognizing, all right, we don't have all the members up quite yet. The jumps are gonna come in here soon. Let's just try to get everybody back in control there. But they realize, okay, this push is gonna have to be slow retreat, because there was Nom Nom on a bit of a surprise move there, and they're like, okay, you're trying to sneak behind us. We're gonna try to eliminate you first before you can get started there. And Retro Records is now back to pushing tempo once again here, Siren.
Yeah, wow, that pencil having to retreat all the way back into their spawn with that power clam, and before they could even complete a charge, they have been completely knocked out by Retro Records. Seems like they were definitely going into this with quite a bit of vengeance here.
I was actually kind of surprised that the game closed as fast as it did. And I think and I shouldn't be, but I was at that exact moment in time, because it was like, wait, Nom Nom is in the back. I was expecting, okay, maybe 1 or 2. Retro Records was a full send back to base, just to be like, okay, we don't want to deal with a bit of a surprise push there, so let's just get them out. And then everything kind of just all happened the way it did, with everybody else going down one by one. And that was Retro Records there, which they do take on Myopsidus, moving on to the next round. They await the winners on the other side, which, to our knowledge, we might be covering the other side of the of losers round 3 on our side, which we're still waiting to hear upon. But at least when the 1 game sample size there, Siren, that we saw, it was all Retro Records.
Yeah, Retro Records doing a really good job there. Even when the members of Myopsidus tried to pull a bit of a bait and switch on them, seems like they were able to flick the switch very fast, find Nom Nom, and return back to what they were doing instantly, which was just absolutely dominating the base. I felt like their brush was very key in all those interactions for sure, just being an absolute nuisance, and I mean that lovingly. I don't know what else to say about it. It was a very, very dominant playing strategy from them.
Yeah, that was a ton of dominance that Retro Records has, and you know what? It's funny because the minute you implanted my brain of a brush going full speed with the cooler is like, I think the strategy was, get everybody, please look at me. Ignore the 3 other members that are literally following me right now. Just focus on me. We're your main target. It's almost like a huge taunt. Just go at me real quick. And I feel like that kind of just opened the door. I think that I'm gonna forever have that message, that image in my head for the most part there, Siren.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's like, as goofy as it is, it's one of the hardest things to deal with in Splatoon, because it's something that you can't really afford to ignore, but you can't really dedicate a lot of resources to taking care of. So you sometimes just need to purely out-mechanic whatever's going on there. Or just throw a lot of people at it all at once, which is kind of what they did to Nom Nom when he tried to run behind them. So it's kind of I think it's definitely like a glass cannon situation where you just want to push it off the table and then get back to what you're doing.
Yeah, and that's a pretty good point there too. It felt like they were like almost two, at least the way I'm also saying it too. It's like almost like two solo missions. One was distract the enemy team, and the other one was in a literal okay, let's just go sneak behind the back, try to get a sneaky push in and see if we can just get any points on the board. So it felt like two different objectives almost in a sense. But I feel like I definitely get where you're going out with that glass cannon analogy there for the most part. So. But yeah, that Retro Records Game 3 goes final. They move on to take on, by the way, the winner of the set that we're about to cover right now, which is the Cafeteria and Lunar Eclipse. We ignored Lunar Eclipse in the Cafeteria for about one game. We're back to you guys now. We gave you all the attention, and you covered the Cafeteria. Actually, I think in the 2 games I believe you had in the winner's side there, they fell to TZS if I'm not mistaken, and we just covered Lunar Eclipse just earlier with that 2-1 over Insomniac Central. To me, actually, I know it's a best of 3, but I hope to see this go the distance because I think we got 2 really strong teams here in this particular matchup.
Yeah, now I'm not sure if we're actually going to be catching them before Game 1 has started. My impression, because of what has just conspired, is that they probably have already started it. So it is Splat Zones on Umami that they would be on right now, if my assumption is correct, which I think it is. Not sure how that's gonna go, but obviously with Cafeteria coming from the winner's side to one of the strongest teams in this tournament, we're probably gonna be looking at a dub, from my guess, from Cafeteria. Oh, actually,
they actually waited for us. Hey!
Wow! Okay, well, let's see if my shiny magic 8-ball has given me the future.
We'll see if the future was right for you or if the future actually did change for you down the road. Maybe that magic 8-ball will need to be sent back to the shop at some point. Fingers crossed. Which, by the way, so for the Cafeteria, they do have that VDS available, the 52 gal. And before I could cover the other team there in Lunar Eclipse, which is a very similar comp that we saw from earlier, the Cafeteria has basically just wasted no time. They took 3 members out of the picture just like that, and the Nautilus once more from Fern has gone down quickly here. The Cafeteria just didn't really give us enough time to think about both of these teams so far. They're just pushing tempo once again here, Siren.
Yeah, tempo they will push, and I definitely liked seeing Karma's approach there with the Crab Tank at first. Trying to stall out as much time before they feel like popping it is absolutely necessary, but unfortunately the downside to that is that by that point they had Nixuka ready for them. So it looks like Lunar Eclipse is going to be able to escape for a little bit here, is going to be able to pop that cooler, and we now see the members trying to get onto the top mid, going to camp this jump and hopefully cap both the zones if they want to approach a little bit further here.
Yeah, and they're able to get 2 members down on top of it as well. So this would be a decent setup here with Lunar Eclipse, which by the way, they have a Zook at the ready, but they are also having to wait on the Crab Tank that is also available on the other side, which they just popped, by the way. Cafeteria is already using that Crab Tank there, and it's being used on the left-hand side. Trip Strike's also being thrown out into the wind to at least force the zones to be neutral. Two members going down. This is going to be the Cafeteria capital zone there, and basically they still maintain lead there. That they did lose ground for just a little bit more, but now they're going to be taking down some of these penalty points. Maybe for a few quick seconds there, they've lost. Make that a delayed 3. Make that a delayed wipeout on top of it, and Lunar Eclipse will be able to get both these zones back. No problem whatsoever here, Siren.
Yeah, no problem at all. 2 members down on the side of Cafeteria as they run into their base. Looks like we had that Nautilus Fern getting set up on the dome there. Has that splashdown at the ready. Is going to use it to kind of push the members of Cafeteria back farther into the base. And once again, we're seeing 2 members down. This is very reasonably a lead switch into the favor of Lunar Eclipse if they're able to hold this a little bit longer. Pencil being standing there is good, but you know, that Crab Tank, as it has been so far from Karma Fox, is going to put a wedge in things.
Yeah, but oh my goodness, that pencil. If I'm not mistaken, that was 2 tap shots. That two members that went down. All the tap shots from the pencil there. And Lunar Eclipse, by the way, already swiping lead just like that, and they're still holding on to pretty strong ground here. Actually, maybe we'll get the KO here shortly, as the trip strikes have to be burned here from the Cafeteria to at least force the zones to be neutral. But these are being painted all over real quickly here. 2 members have gone down, and Lunar Eclipse able to get them back and to make that 3 members down on top of it from the Cafeteria. No chance for the retake there from that side. Lunar Eclipse they were down initially with the really strong push from the Cafeteria, recovered nicely to get the KO themselves, and that's game 1 over to them.
Wow, alright, so I guess the Magic 8 Ball was incorrect. So we do have Lunar Eclipse taking that game 1 here. Cafeteria now stuck in a bit of a situation, gonna have to win these next couple games if they want to stay in the tournament, which they probably feel like they belong in doing so, right? You know, I'm looking back on this bracket here, just trying to jog my memory a little bit. Yeah, Lunar Eclipse went down to Myopsidus originally, right? And then Insomniac Central. I would imagine they were on the other side of the bracket, but it looks like they were actually on similar sides, so they went down to Chocolate Milkshake. Cafeteria. This is their first time seeing Lunar Eclipse, or their opponents that they just beat last round as well in the tournament. So maybe we're gouging things a little bit differently, taking a look at what was going on there, and maybe didn't quite consider the fact that they would be playing against a big threat like Lunar Eclipse on the loser's side, at this point at least.
Yeah, with how this bracket laid out, the first meeting for both of these teams here in the tournament. So now, in an interesting sense, in the best of 3, at least to what I would be inclined to believe, which sometimes may not be correct, is it's almost kind of getting a feel for how the other team kind of played there in this best of 3. But of course, there's very little margin for error once you lose that first map, because now you gotta win, because now each map starts to matter there if you're on the losing end, which will be the Cafeteria's big mission there. So Lunar Eclipse dropping down earlier, and the Cafeteria, I think we as we saw from earlier, being taken down, I believe, by TZS, of course. So this is the Cafeteria's first taste into the losers bracket from that side. And from what we saw earlier there too, was the Cafeteria had that strong initial push, just couldn't retain it for a little bit longer, and Lunar Eclipse was able to wrestle that one through just nicely. And now we go into the next 2 matches, which I think you aptly described as anything could possibly go. Undertow Rainmakers, Undertow Spillway Rainmaker. I was supposed to say Undertow Rainmaker Spillway. That's the other way around. No, Undertow Spillway Rainmaker, and this is gonna be one of those maps where maybe both these teams may have something in store for them, trying to figure out how for Lunar Eclipse how they can steal this one, move on to the next one, and how the Cafeteria can stay alive. But I'm honestly gonna be intrigued by what both teams want to dish out here strategy wise.
Yeah, I honestly, as a viewer of this set, I kind of just strive for chaos in this next game. I don't really want to go into this thinking or even knowing what's going to happen at the end, because I think no matter what I say here, I am going to, at some point in the game, end up biting myself, or what is it? Kicking myself? Yeah, kicking myself in the foot. Yeah.
I think that is the actual analogy there too. Maybe it could just be commentators
biting my cheek. Yeah, like
I'll use that analogy. Maybe that is also the correct analogy there.
I said something weird to Nine once about like mountain goats and fingertips, and I don't know.
Sometime in the past, there, Siren. Is that what you mentioned, Nine, or the many different analogies that you had?
I don't know. Holding on by their fingertips, mountain. Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like we're just inventing analogies here, like every minute here. Which, by the way, both teams aptly moving on to game 2, and now we look at the weapons. Joy, by the way, back to that blaster there, and it looks like I don't think there's really any weapon changes if my memory is serving me right here from the Cafeteria's end. So this is what we're dishing with. This is what we're dishing out. It looks like it's just gonna be a duel of wipers here to start off between Soda and Teeny.
Look, if we don't make up an analogy, then who will, right? They all had to be made up at some point. So, as you said, multiple wipers starting out this game, one on each side, and it seems like they met each other very early on. And all right, Gal from the side of Cafeteria going on a bit of a rampage. It's just gonna be the Rainmaker left on Cafeteria, who's holding it all down by themselves, is housing these jumps around that corner, a very smart decision, but it looks like, hey, you can hold corners, but they still have 2 angles to approach from.
And that torpedo found that angle to approach from as well, which I think that actually took him out. The Rainmaker just dropped where it stands, and it's just going to be only minimal points cashed in, but they'll have another chance at the first checkpoint. This one looks like they're going to pressure on that left-hand side there. Cafeteria is trying to find an opening. Brendan's actually the one that's really far up, and they're actually able to clear out 2 members there on that side. Jumps are going to be coming in, but this should be the first checkpoint. Yes, it will be. Cafeteria is going to be the one to strike first with the first checkpoint. Now the question is, can they sustain a lead up? Of course, being that this is a quick mode change, they still have they don't want to lose the lead, similar to what happened in the previous game.
Yeah, for sure. So Cafeteria now moving up 3 down. It's just going to be the Wiper remaining. And you saw there, just standing on the pedestal of that Rainmaker, shooting into their spawn, just trying to seal the deal for that game and get them to that game 3 where they can redeem themselves in the set.
I literally just said seconds ago, Siren, that they don't want to lose the lead the same way they did in the first map.
Mm-hmm.
Literally seconds later, they just instantly is like, okay, no, we heard you. Well, just that kill just happened so quickly there from the Cafeteria. But this is also the team that had a strong start in both maps. This time changing it big time here in Undertow Spillway Rainmaker, and that was really clean from the Cafeteria. We move on to Scorch Gorge Clams, which is going to be deja for both of us, since it is, of course, in the same round. And I would love to see what both teams want to do here as well. We saw that the Cafeteria made quick work in that in that game too. Obviously, I think it's just going to be slower because it is Clams after all.
It is Clams, so they are kind of at mercy of the spawns, and you know, there's only so many people or teams in this game that know exactly where those spawns are going to happen and when. So that can be a little bit tricky, especially on something like Scorch Gorge, where you have a lot of space to deal with, and there's really only there's like a path and a half to reach that basket, right? You can go through the grates, but like, good luck if they have anyone with eyes watching their base, right? So they do need to be a bit careful here. I think they're definitely going to want to go into pushes with confidence, both in their plays, their picks, and their objective holding, because like you're not going to run at the basket with one power climb and nothing else, because that is just not going to be sustainable for them here, especially with the understanding from game 1, knowing that Lunar Eclipse can throw it back at them twice as hard. So I think both teams need to look at this and approach this in a meaningful way.
I feel like the Cafeteria's patience in that Rainmaker kind of lends me to believe that they'll probably approach this more methodically instead of trying to, of course, rush in with just one power claim, just call it and give it a one and done, maybe a few more small claims in the basket. So this could be, I could see the Cafeteria with the way they've been playing in our 2 games here, playing with confidence with that initial push, and then looking to see if they can coordinate it to something stronger than that. But Luna, the thing that at least Lunar Eclipse has is this is good. This is a map and mode combination where, because again, we're at the mercy of the Clams, they could definitely look to find openings against what the Cafeteria was dishing out just earlier. So this is gonna be one of those cases where Lunar Eclipse will have some time to work with, and they can get themselves all sorted out methodically there. They couldn't get that all figured out in game 2 since Cafeteria was just brimming with confidence even coming into that. So we now load into basically the game 3 here. The winner, of course, moves on to take on Retro Records in losers semis there, and if we take a look at the web, triple swords are being dished out here from the Cafeteria. Hi, how are you doing?
Oh gosh. All right, well, hey, if that's what you're passionate about, I say go for it, right? And honestly, in this current meta, I can't even like look at this and say this is ironic, because they're strong. They can paint, they can fight. What can't you do with a sword right now?
I feel like there's a lot of things you can do with the sword, unless that you can. And and to your point, hey, they got that mint decap, which by the way has that bubble that's been so readily used across the different tournaments and everywhere else there. So this is gonna be a fun little comp here that the Cafeteria has Lunar Eclipse are kind of just sticking to pretty much what they know best so far, to my knowledge. So this is going to be an intriguing matchup to say the least. I feel like if the Cafeteria is gonna use 3 swords, this is gonna be coordinated aggression. That what feels like there, especially with that zip caster, which is gonna be popped right out of the gate, and it looks like they're just gonna try to dive in and see if they can find anybody.
Yeah, and find somebody they will. Karma spotting out that pencil with that crab tank. That hammer is going to be coming out. Another special we can still jump into with power clams. So we're starting our push here. We have somebody going off in mid looking for those extras as we have the aggressive weapon staying under that basket, dunking in what they have, and absolutely terrorizing the members of Lunar Eclipse from under their basket there. Having that ledge and being a sword for them is probably like chef's kiss. I could sit under here unbothered. Well, until we see a hammer come out.
Yeah, and look at how this push is already going for them. In fact, they've already taken 3 members out of the picture there. They just got to get any clan to at least extend the timer, which they will not. But I feel like that's going to be okay for the Cafeteria, because this is just pure control across the board there, and no wasting absolutely no time to just try to sustain as much as they could. Brendan's gonna be the one just putting paint down just to pick up that power clam, and they may be looking for a quick little push here. Yes, they will, and it will be down to just half those penalty points breaking down. Bubble is gonna be used, but then the ultimate question is, where are the other clams that they're gonna need to cash it in? There's 3, and they're still late once more. But that free clam to the Lunar Eclipse, they didn't pick it up. So all it did at the end of the day was cut down the penalty points to 10 basically. But I think the Cafeteria are still gonna be content with that.
Yeah, I think from this point in on the game, we're getting into the typical Splatoon moment of, all right, if it's not a knockout, we're probably not going to win the game at this point. So that's definitely not a situation you want to be in if you are Lunar Eclipse. But speaking of situations you do want to be in, we're starting to see people move under this basket here. We have Power Clam at the ready. I know we should still have a Pity Clam under the basket as well, but that is going to be one of these swords on the side of Cafeteria, taking out 2 members of Lunar Eclipse. So having to back up once again a little bit here. 2 minutes left on the clock means they do have to make up quite a bit for what they've lost here, which is, unfortunately in this case, 91 points.
That 91 points is a huge deficit. Could get even more out of control as the Cafeterias, which I'm gonna aptly name the 3 Musketeers for the Cafeteria, just striking big. In fact, they just wasted literally seconds later. 3 swords were just wasting no time. That's all it's gonna be for Lunar Eclipse. They are done. The Cafeteria moves on to the next round, continuing that upwards trajectory that they are pulling so far, not just in this turn but elsewhere too. So Cafeteria is gonna be going on to take on Retro Records here in loser semis here in SAC. And hey, that's a really strong third map for the Cafeteria.
Yeah, the comp comes off as memey, but the way that they play it kind of shows us that they've done this before and they feel confident enough to bring it out here. So like, as goofy as it is, like, that is what they wanted to do, and they executed it well.
You know, I feel like the one time I'm ever gonna see 3 swords in an actual team game was someone's gonna definitely do it with their team ladder. Surely enough, the Cafeteria does, and hey, it worked out beautifully. There was basically barely any response from Lunar Eclipse whatsoever. They just almost getting ran over or completely slashed in multiple different ways there by that strong comp. Of course, aided by the splash, I believe, as well for the crab tank and more paint coverage that the Cafeteria had. So that was that matchup. The next round is actually going to be covered on the mainstream, to our knowledge. So that's actually going to be it for both of us here, Siren. So we'll get you guys over to the mainstream here. Siren, I believe the first time I'm working with you, you have been a pleasure to work with so far here today.
Thank you, and same to you as well. I was like, oh, it's my first time commentating with Keon. Like, I'd scratched that off the commentary bucket list for me, right? So it was honestly, it was a pleasure. Super exciting, and I'm so excited for the viewers of the stream who are going to get to enjoy the rest of the tournament with Falco and Nine, who are going to be taking things from this very intense bracket further.
Yeah, and then quickly, Siren, do you have anything to plug before we get the viewers over?
I have my socials down right below me, as well as yours. Well, you're on the other side. Yeah, there you go. So anywhere I want to be found is there. Mostly Blue Sky nowadays, so definitely hop up on there if you haven't already. What about you, Kyon?
I'll make this quick for y'all. You can find me on Blue Sky and Twitch, Kyon2570. I do occasionally use Twitter, but it's been dormant for whoever knows how long. Shout out to our producer, Summer Prairies, or Sam, that has provided us with awesome views throughout the day. But that's going to be it for us here on the side stream. We'll get you over to the mainstream for the rest of SAC here. So with Siren and, of course, our producer, Sam, I'm Kyon saying have a good rest of your Saturday. We'll see you guys next time. And by see you guys next time, we'll see you guys on the other side on the mainstream. Bye, y'all.
Bye.